24/7, 365 until I reach the heavens.
That we see a lot of bullshit going on. So I usually think I'm in the best position to speak about all of this. Someone who I think you guys know I'm privy enough to see behind the scenes. I've exposed many things that's happened behind the scenes, but I'm definitely not in bed with all of the people behind the scenes, no pun intended, that I can't speak about it. I've exposed labels, I've exposed fake relationships, I've exposed people trying to pay people off. I've exposed a lot. And I hope to continue like that because, after all, I'm funded by you guys, the people, right? So shout out to all the chat niggas in the building. Shout out to everybody else who is viewing and tapping in today. We will get to a whole bunch of stuff other than the obvious, right? So we're going to get into that viral tweet. Maybe I even get Vlad on the phone. Should I like that? Maybe I do that, right? What else is going on in hip hop? I think we got J. Cole sales. That kind of came back. There's a few other things that's kind of percolating, not too relevant compared to the biggest topic here. There is some also business stuff. Sorry, that's kind of like overshadowing. Well, not overshadowing, but it's lingering in the background. I think you guys have realized, I've been live streaming. If you guys don't know, if you're keeping math, for about 13 years. Okay, I've been making YouTube videos for 16 years, and we obviously have a good time. We laugh. Shit, you've seen me cry. You've seen me fall asleep. We've had a good time on stream. These days, I do want to elevate the conversation somewhat, right? Not for everything, but for some shit. Yes, will we waddle in the mud with the pigs and go laugh at the fuckery and the bullshit or the thoughts and the scallywags and the savages? Of course. But if you've been watching me for 10 plus years, I hope you guys could be like, you know what? This guy not only makes me laugh and keeps me up to date, he, helps, gives me some mental enrichment. All right. Anyway, we'll get to a whole bunch of stuff today. What's up with y'all, though? Real quick, let's get a check-in real quick. I like doing this when I get on stream. Where are you guys tuning in from? If you guys haven't made a profile or an account that you could type in the chat. The chat's the best place to be. Spam where you're from, where you're repping. I'd like to know and get a good idea of where we're from. We got Philly in the building, New York, Norway. I like that. Bronx, Haiti. Oh my God. By the way, I apologize for the last stream being muted. I saw that. Chicago, Philly, Tel Aviv. Whoa, okay, I see you. All right, keep them stars up. All right. What's that? Atlanta. Don't call it Ratlanta if you're from there. Like, let us call it Ratlanta. You're from Atlanta. You're from Atlanta, okay? Liverpool, what up? Florida. Okay, that's Orlando, H-Town, Houston, the building, Charleston, North Carolina, that is. Look like somebody said from Russia. Russia's a big place. It's almost damn a continent. Where? New Jersey, London, England, Santa Barbara, California, North Carolina, heavy in here, Tampa, Horley, Delaware, Gary, Indiana, Vancouver, Wisconsin. Oh, you're in Jay-Z's house? I'm going to pray for you, brother. Okay, hope you make it out. Gwinnett, shout out to you. Gary, Indiana again. We have Las Vegas, Milwaukee, South Africa. Country in Africa. Let me know what city there. Aruba, what's popping? Pomona, California, Wisconsin. Somebody say flat earth. I see. Listen, we're Brownsville, Southeast DC. Did Trump really stop all the crime out there? Miami, Saudi Arabia. Where in Saudi Arabia are you from? Okay. Somebody said they're from that rack. I see you, my boy. Okay, great. Ottawa, Ghana, Toronto, Mexico, Amsterdam, Kingston, Jamaica, Wakanda, Somalia. Wakanda's not a real place, but I get you mentally. Okay. Jersey City. That's my place over there. Okay. What's that? Troy, New York? I never heard of that. Okay. Congo, St. Lucia. Shout out to my people from St. Lucia. Nottingham, Netherlands, Grenada. Oh my God. And somebody said, what happened to the Hard on Thoughts movement? It's alive and well, people. Thank you for the 10. And somebody said Diddy's jail cell. I don't think you want to be there. Vegas is better. Great. Okay, cool. All right. We won't do too much of that. We got many important things to talk about. So,
hey producers, if 2025 was all about AI, in 2020
how should I start? I don't want to do the whole, like let's, you could view farm and wait till everybody get up in here and tease it. It's like foreplay. Let's get straight to it. So yesterday, there was a tweet sent out by DJ Vlad. If you don't know, DJ Vlad he's a Russian Jewish individual that runs the YouTube channel, very popular YouTube, independent hip hop media channel called DJ Vlad TV. He's interviewed some of the most iconic, some of the most controversial people within Black culture and just Black history. Whether good or bad, could be from drug dealers, killers, murderers, drug kingpins, rappers, escorts, you name it. DJ Vlad has some type of content with these people. He's someone who has been pretty good with me. When I came in the game, as the Ebros and the other people that were in mainstream media basically said, who the fuck are you? You're not on our level. He embraced me because he saw I was on YouTube and I was trying to grind. Years later, I'm one of his peers. I respected him then. I respect him now. And, we don't agree all the time on everything, but he is definitely a player within the space. To give you guys an overview of DJ Vlad a little bit more, give you a little bit more of the where the conversation or his relevance, if you guys don't know at this point. He's a guy who essentially was outcasted, not only as a white guy who didn't have substantial ties to the mainstream ecosystem, because he kind of started his own independent company. He was always kind of fringe media until now. He's now one of the biggest platforms because everything has went to the internet and he's reigned supreme there. Not only that, Vlad was one of the people who didn't get many very popular interviews. The labels and other rappers and the culture kind of said that he was a culture vulture, or he was he was the feds. Like, yo, you go in there, you get indicted. Such was the case that many rappers didn't want to show up on his platform. Notoriously, I don't do podcasts every week these days. I don't do but if A$AP Rocky wants to talk, Lil Durk wants to talk, or Youngboy wants to have a chat, or even Playboi Carti, they're going to holler at me. And, I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying is that Vlad I've been lucky enough I built relationship. Vlad has always been the guy that the whole industry has been piled on. So they used to be like, he's a feds. So no one wanted to do interviews with him. No labels would send interviews or artists to him. If I wanted to interview somebody who's on a press run, they're going to send him to me, right? I'm saying that to give you his plight. Now the tables always turn. The tables have turned now. You can look on his site now. 42 Doug is one of the latest guests. Years past, you'll never see a 42 Doug, who is one of the, still current relevant rappers, appearing on Vlad's platform. Why? Of many of the things they would say about Vlad, but the tables has turned. Why am I saying that? Because not only has Vlad's platform grown, Vlad's voice has also grown. If you've watched early Vlad interviews, Vlad was this guy that was off camera, never really spoke. He asked questions, and to the point where his voice was not even heard. As years went by, the people of the platform more, you started hearing his voice in the background, to the point where now, when I first did his platform, I had one requirement: me and him have to sit on camera. And if you've ever seen a DJ Vlad Akademiks, whether he's on my platform, I'm on his, I knew how he did his interviews, and he wouldn't be in the room. I wasn't with that. We got to sit across from each other. You've seen us be on my podcast sitting across from each other, and when I'm interviewing with him, he's in the room. Okay. Nevertheless, this is all boiled up and it's turned into Vlad is a real deal personality at this point. Meaning when Vlad has an opinion, when Vlad has a take, when Vlad, it's not only about him asking the question. And that's the thing. Most interview outlets is based on their guest. Like if you go to Cam Capone, I don't know what Cam Capone thinks about nothing. I don't know what Art of Dialogue think about nothing. I don't know what most of these guys think about anything. Maybe with the exception of like Sean Connery with Say Cheese, because he is Say Cheese, right? But Vlad at this point, who we do like and who we don't like. You kind of know. And I think one of the number one comments these days, if you guys do watch this channel, is, yo, Vlad, let the guests talk, okay? Because Vlad is yapping. But it's all good. It's his platform. It can do whatever. I say all that to say Vlad is now turned into this personality where if Vlad tweets something, and, he told me this, and he said this to the world publicly, that, because I remember one day I was talking to him, and he says, you know what I like about you? When these rappers get at you, you fucking defend yourself. And you don't care if you beef with them for a year or 2 years, you're going to defend yourself. And I told Vlad, I said, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. You know why? Because I don't want him to do what they did to you. If you let one person get away with a narrative that you're X, everybody else is going to jump in. It's a pile-on effect. Ever since then, Vlad has not backed down from nothing. He's mad outspoken, and he got hot takes for everything. Shit, one of his recent hot takes was that Bad Bunny, because he didn't speak English, was not good to perform in the Super Bowl. I vehemently disagree. It's my man's. We could disagree. But he stayed on that point, and we've seen him echo that out, not only in his interviews and disseminating his thoughts through there, but on Twitter as well. Well, the latest thing, and I'm hoping this is not an inflection point that we created a monster, Vlad has now tweeted something out, and this is clearly the most engaging content he's ever gotten without a guest, where his opinion is now sending these ripple effects of, it's like the tremors after the earthquake, and everyone's talking about this. What I mean, everyone, people sent this to me from everywhere. People that didn't watch hip-hop content, people that didn't care about hip-hop, but it does go into something that people care about, right? Now, I want to just caution everybody, because I want y'all to listen to every word I say, and I want y'all to save this broadcast. Okay? I want y'all to save this broadcast and listen to every word I say. Okay? Let me read his tweet, and then I want to go over it. He says, I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. They've also paid off the jury members to convict Tory. And they bribed the judge, too. Jay-Z did a verse for the grandsons, or the grandson of the judge, new album. They paid Meg's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay-Z members to convict Tory. And they bribed the judge. He said, over it. DJ Vlad tweets out. He says, I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Meghan. They've also paid off the jury members to convict Tory. And they bribed the judge, too. Jay-Z did a verse for the grandsons, or the grandson of the judge, new album. They paid Meg's doctor to verse for the grandson, Tory. And they bribed the judge, too. Jay-Z did a verse for the grandsons, or the grandson of the judge, new album. They paid Meg's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay-Z's payroll. And it doesn't just stop with LA. But you're not really ready to hear that part, are you? The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory in jail, who do you think paid him to do that? You already know the answer to that now, don't you? The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal, they're also paid off by the Rock Mafia. Jay paid Trump not to pardon Tory, even though it's a state case and Trump really could only pardon federal offenses and cases. But knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay was not taking any chances. I can't keep these secrets anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me.
Introducing Iron Beam, a bright choice for
That's a drop mic moment if you would ever, want one. Now, it's for the grandson of the judge. He says, I have a confession. Rock Nation has been. Let me read his tweet, and then I want to go over it. DJ Vlad tweets out. He says, I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Meghan. They've also paid off the jury members to convict Tory. And they bribed the judge, too. Jay-Z did a verse for the grandsons, or the grandson of the judge, new album. They paid Meg's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay-Z's payroll. And it doesn't just stop with LA. But you're not really ready to hear that part, are you? The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory in jail, who do you think paid him to do that? You already know the answer to that now, don't you? The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal, they're also paid off by the Rock Mafia. Jay paid Trump not to pardon Tory, even though it's a state case and Trump really could only pardon federal offenses and cases. But knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay was not taking any chances. I can't keep these secrets anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. Well, damn. That's a drop mic moment if you would ever, want one. Now, it's important to kind of look at this whole thing. Not that it necessarily matters, but it does. This tweet got 94,000 likes. It's the most engaging thing that Vlad has ever tweeted. Okay. I think if I go back to his profile, I could probably see the views. 10 million views. Not even close to what he usually tweets out, not even touching 1 million, okay? He's only followed up via Twitter with a few responses to random people. Some people said, hey, why are you confessing now? Did you feel bad, or did the money stop coming in and you're mad about it? Vlad said, well, the money stopped coming in and I never signed an NDA. Okay. Someone says, damn, I'm low-key too shook to retweet this. He says to that person, I don't blame you. Save yourself. Somebody else says, damn, Vlad, be safe out here. Jay-Z could have your security on payroll. He says, I've always used Rock Nation security. I might need now to get my own. Someone says, how much are they paying you? He said it started with $10K a month. During the trial, it went up to $50K. All the payments were in Bitcoin, so they couldn't be traced. Someone says, Vlad, stop clout chasing, dude. If it's true that Jay-Z paid you, then you know you can't possibly be the only blogger he paid. So considering everything you just said, why didn't you name the other bloggers who Jay supposedly paid? He says, well, every blogger is on Jay-Z's payroll. We all got paid with Bitcoin. Now the price dropped. You see a lot of us turn on them. Someone says, well, if they've been paying you, does that mean they stopped paying you? He says, correct. Their last check bounced. Someone else says, it's over for Jay-Z. I keep saying he'll be last. You see a lot of us turn on him. Someone says, well, if they've been paying you, does that mean they stopped paying you? He says, correct. Their last check bounced. Someone else says, it's over for Jay-Z. I keep saying he'll be the only guy arrested from the Epstein files, the fall guy. Somebody says it's deeper than that. Jay-Z is Epstein. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside.
Interesting here. Very interesting. What do y'all think? Well, when I seen this, well, let me try to call Vlad. He might answer, he might not. Let's see if we get Vlad on the phone.
Hello, please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Vlad is act. Pick up. Why does Vlad have like this police ass thing? Let's see if we can get Vlad on the phone. If he doesn't answer, I'll text him. We'll get him back eventually during the broadcast. Knowing Vlad, he's dropping something today, probably related to it. We'll get.
Subscriber you have called is not available.
Whatever. Yo, Vlad don't even trust me with his. Y'all want to dinner with Vlad? Yo, Vlad, you don't trust me with your real number? Is this a Google Voice number he gave me? That's, yo, that's critical. That's critical. I just called a Google Voice number. Yo, Vlad, what's going on, brother? Anyway, now I want to calm everybody's outrage. Number one, let me just say a few things. I don't think these need to be said, but I have to say it because I've realized that people care about this a lot. This has turned out to me, if you ask me, like the Kai Cenat thing, right? Where it's not about you. Like, for example, this has nothing to do with me, but by the mere how big the story gets, you're somewhat indirectly implicated, right? Like, for example, in the Kai Cenat thing, he was saying he's not in a relationship, but it made it look like the rumors of why he's not in a relationship is true. Those rumors kind of implicated me. The bigger that story became, I have to answer. So let me just put this out unequivocally, because in case people have sunk their teeth into his original tweet and some of his responses, and they're saying, aha, we have figured it out, I want to make a blanket announcement that if Jay-Z sent the checks, I never got them. Okay? I want to be very clear. I'm a very open person, and y'all know how I get down when it comes to the beef. I love telling y'all who I done finesse, because I feel like I done robbed these niggas in reality. So I'll tell you what it was, if there was some shit to tell. I got the biggest mouth in hip-hop. You know me, I can't hold water. Pause. So this idea that Jay-Z has all the bloggers in his pocket and he's paying off, well, just I'll raise my hand to say I'm the only one that's not. I can't vouch for these other guys. I cannot vouch for these other guys. Now, before we get to the whole veracity of the tweet and this and third, but I want to make that abundantly clear. And I'm always open and honest. I used to do business with Jay-Z, Rock Nation, Jay-Z, to promote their artists until me and Meek Mill got into it, and I threw it in his face, pause, that Rock Nation was paying me to promote him while we were beefing. And then he got mad. I've never done business with Rock Nation since. That's years ago. You know, me and Meek been beefing for like 10 years. Come on. So, I'm always open and honest, right? They would pay me to like, yo, hey, could you let people know this album's coming out? That's it, Now, I'm always honest. The honesty never really is full transparent around this industry, but I'm always honest about what's going on with me. If you ask me, but this shouldn't be a day about opinions. It should be more about provable facts and having people making really educated opinions. And that's what we're going to use it for. But if you do ask me, I do believe that other individuals, and the majority of the individuals in media, I wouldn't say they're getting directly paid by Rock Nation to defend or whatever, but they have mutual business interests. And that's how usually things go, right? If we have a side company together and you're my partner and you're funding this side company, and then people are attacking you in the mainstream of hip hop, I don't need to get told to go defend you. I'm probably going to say, y'all are attacking my partner. I'm going to go over here and be like, hey, what are y'all saying about my partner? Right? Now, I don't want to come off with like Alex Jones. Everybody knows I'm a math major. I like to stay in logic, so we're going to be very logical. First and foremost, Vlad did actually speak on this, and he did speak on this on Sneeko stream. So Sneeko actually streamed, and Vlad called in, and I want to play what he said on Sneeko stream about his tweets, because Sneeko actually got him on the phone. Let me see. Sneeko, Vlad. Let's see what was said. Right here. Here we go.
It's a jerk off. Stay on that side. Vlad's calling me. Hey, Vlad, what's going on?
Yeah, what's good?
How you doing, man? I'm on stream right now. Is it okay?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so I saw your tweets about Jay-Z and Rock Nation. Is everything okay? Are you in a safe spot?
Man, people just do not know sarcasm, do they? Sarcasm really just goes over people's heads. It really surprises me.
Okay, so you're trolling.
I'm trolling, man. Hey.
Okay, so what's the purpose of this? Is it
changing the verse on the Judge's Grandson's album? Like,
okay?
How is this not obvious?
Yeah, the timing is strange because now he's getting revealed in the Epstein file. So I'm sure especially a lot of people do see how Tory Lanez is innocent.
I guess, man. Do they really? I mean, he was convicted by 12 jurors. His appeal has been denied. Like, come on.
You don't actually, really? You think that Megan Fox is the one, you think that he shot her in the foot?
Megan Stallion? He said Megan Fox.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about.
So you shot her too?
No. Okay, so, all right, you're just trolling.
Yeah, man. Look, at the end of the day, we don't exactly know what happened, but when you shoot a woman and she's willing to take a stand and say that person shot me, that is very hard to get over, and if he really didn't shoot her, then he should have taken the stand and said that. And, just all the pieces, and he's talking to Kelsey on the jail phone and he's apologizing to her and she's the shooter. I don't be in jail and apologize to the person who put you there.
Well, obviously, maybe they forced his hand, but I did see his bodyguard, his security.
He was in jail.
His security just went public and said the opposite of what the mainstream narrative is.
No, not his security. Kelsey's security, who was not her security the night of the actual incident. That was her security during the trial, and he said that he overheard her saying that. That's the story. And that story is from May of last year. And that appeal that they tried to file was denied.
What about the forensic evidence where it said that she stepped on glass? That's what the original doctor's report was.
She said that she stepped on glass originally because she said that she didn't want to see everyone arrested. But then when she went to the hospital, to the actual doctor took the stand and said there was bullet fragments. And he pulled those out. And then at first he said she wasn't shot. But then when they filed the appeal, he said that Kelsey was a shooter and he hit her arm and the gun fell to the ground and fired 2 more times.
Vlad, if Rock Nation just pressed you, you could say that too. If you got the call from Rock Nation, be honest.
Have you ever shot a gun before?
Of course.
Okay. Have you ever dropped a gun on the ground and it fired twice? I have not. Can you imagine any situation with a gun where you drop it on the ground and it fires 2 times?
Okay.
I'm asking you, as someone who shoots guns, can you imagine that situation happening under any sort of physical condition? His lawyers actually said this in a press conference.
Okay, I mean, she lied on Megan Thee Stallion. She lied on
That's how she got shot.
on Gayle King. She said that she never had a relationship with him that was sexual, and then later she did.
Absolutely, she lied about that. But she was not taking a stand. You know, at the end of the day, you could lie in interviews, but when you take the stand, it's a very different story.
Okay. So Vlad later, and I'll let you know if he messaged me or anything. Love to get him on here. And I don't know if you guys do know before I get to the next part. Me and Vlad, Vlad pays his guests. We're content creators. We don't do the money transaction stuff. I don't need to get paid, and he doesn't need to get paid. So what we do is every time you see me on Vlad TV, you might chop it up to 1 million parts. He's gonna come on my podcast, and he comes on off the record, and we do that type of trade. And I think that's fair. It doesn't matter if he chops it up and he gets 15 million views and I only get 500,000 views. It doesn't matter. For me, I like content for content swap with someone I respect. Not everybody, with someone I respect.
Welcome always. Jamaica. Oh, my reggae nice and
Let's go.
No matter what you use, can know when you're safe. And even more time when we shot at the paper. Still have the flavor. Jamaica.
Never sue the other driver after a car accident. There's a better way to get paid a way bigger check without having to go to court or pay a...
Right now, he owes me an appearance on Off the Record. And I will tell you this, and I'll tell it to Vlad. I only want to talk about this tweet. I have nothing else to talk to him about but this tweet. I have so much conversations to have about the tweet. But let me first react to his tweet, but not only his tweet, but him explaining on Sneako's stream that it's simply sarcasm and people have gotten, like basically almost saying, you niggas fucking stupid, right? Like it's kind of like, and I have 2 problems with this tweet. And again, I love Vlad. Vlad's a peer of mine, and in this new media conglomerate that we do have of hip hop, we don't really beef like that anymore. Me and Adam used to get into it, but not anymore. We have tremendous respect. So I'm gonna really treat this with kid gloves, but I'm extremely disappointed in Vlad for 2 reasons. It's clear that based on what he said to Sneako, this tweet he put up was trying to, grind. He had an axe to grind, and it was clearly with Tory Lanez. Now, if anybody knows Vlad and ever watched his platform, when Vlad has taken a stance about one particular thing, he brings it up in 15 million interviews. We all know this, right? Like, oh, this guy, I met him once. Like, Vlad tells a story. I met him once. He was mean to me. Vlad's gonna tell that 1 million times. We all know it. And I don't know what the real issue is with Tory Lanez. But the Tory Lanez thing is one of those things for Vlad, where Vlad consistently. Now, keep in mind, Tory Lanez has been locked up. Okay? I want to be very clear. Tory Lanez has been locked up for 3.5 years. He's not scheduled to be released from jail, right? I looked at the time. It said actually about 2 years from now, 2 or 3 years. So he has 3 more years that he has to serve. Okay? The people who feel he's guilty or innocent have made up their minds one way or the other. Everyone had enough information based on either the trial, the accusations, initial statements, witness statements, things you saw in the media, wherever you found your information from. If you think that Tory did or you think he did not do it, you've probably made up your mind. You're not in you're not 2 years after the game is done. Like, what really happened? You either believe he didn't do it or he did do it. The reason why I'm disappointed with Vlad for this is that Vlad turned seemingly at this point, this need to be right or need to be like, oh, I told you so, right? I told you so. And I'm going to give you the context of why it's an I told you so type of tweet into something that I find offensive to the, culture in how people and people just intellectual abilities. Because your stance on the Tory thing is that I told y'all this nigga was guilty. That's kind of what he's saying. And he's being sarcastic about it. Because yes, I do believe the initial tweet is sarcastic. I do believe it is sarcastic. Absolutely. And I'm going to go down it line by line, but I have two problems. Number one, you're using Tory to make everybody who has believed any of these things look like a complete idiot for everything and trying to absolve other things that there's legitimate questions about. That's a problem. There's many questions to be had about Jay-Z, and we will bring them on today. So you're saying because now you want to, get your little slam dunking on Tory that you're now saying, oh, if y'all believed all these things about Jay, you're an idiot. No. That's why they're now saying it's sarcastic. They're going to continue to say sarcastic because, and somebody said, what's the point of the tweet? The point of the tweet is trying to lump everyone who believed this. And remember, it's his most viral tweet. Lump y'all up in a bag and say, these are the idiots. They believe anything. That's the point of the tweet. He basically led into anything that people thought, had doubts about, had questions about. He put something out there, not meaning it. Remember, this is sarcastic. You gotta be able to determine, satire and sarcasm through a tweet. And if you believed it, the dunk here is you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Now, there's gonna be a few people that believe, no. He's telling the truth. It's just the check just finally got clear. I believe Vlad in him saying he put this out as sarcasm, but his reason to put it out was, number one, the Tory angle. He has an axe to grind there. I can't tell how many times I've watched I've watched Vlad do an interview about Tory Lanez's case and the same line of conversation or questioning come up. Yeah, I told people from the get-go Tory was guilty. I talked to Tony Yayo. He came on the show. Tony Yayo said, Tony Yayo's a fucking expert at this. Tony Yayo says, well, if you shoot someone and this person gets on the stand, you're done. Okay. People, we know this is a issue that people are divided on. I'm not one that's going after people who believe he did do it. And I understand the people who believe he didn't do it. It's a split issue. But Vlad has kind of taken issue with people who still are skeptical or who believe he might come home, and then you get bad news that, hey, listen, he lost the appeal. So that's the first part. The second part is this. With your attempt to try to sum everybody up as if you believe this tweet that I'm sending out for sarcasm, this is a stupid test. Well, let's figure out the stupid people in hip hop. And yes, for the people who are tuned in here, Vlad kind of put this out to say, if you're intrigued by this, you're the sheep, you're dumb. You believe anything. So I'm going to just be sarcastic. You're going to believe it. Vlad tweets a lot of times a day. He would have cleared this up if it was, oh shit, this is blown up too far. Let me clear it up. He's saying, let's get all the sheep together. So for all the people who believe this, you're dumb. Here's my problem with that. Because while you tweet this out, there's many things that you have claimed in this that have a lot of credence that I don't think that even Vlad maybe is as knowledgeable about what he's assuming or what he's trying to absolve by claiming it's sarcasm. So the idea of sarcasm is saying when you later tweet out, right? When you later tweet out and you claim it's sarcasm, you said, well, I got paid $10K a month. Then during the trial, it went up to $50K a month. And then you're like, oh, no, that was a lie. But if you believe that lie, you believe anything. The truth is a little bit more cynical than just, oh, you're getting paid for Rock Nation. And that's where the problem I have with it is, because you're making it sound ridiculous that maybe there's an entity within hip hop, maybe Rock Nation, that's doing underhanded things that we're all seeing and more people are becoming awoke to over time. That's my second problem, right? This idea, when someone says, when he says it's deeper than that, Jay is Epstein. And that's supposed to be sarcasm because he's putting it across saying, if you believe that, you're an idiot. Well, are you?
Today I'm going to make a beat. We're going to Output's new plugin co-producer, play your beat. It's going to analyze it.
The guy's listed in the Epstein files. Yeah, okay, I get it. And we'll get to some of those files. Okay. Yeah, it was listed. It was an anonymous tip, but also he's being emailed about saying that he's buying people off and he's controlling culture at a different level. Okay. That was the two entries on the Epstein list. But then I keep telling you, the Mount Rushmore of predators and creeps is going to go Epstein. And the second one, most likely, well, we'll put Epstein, Peter Nygaard, and we probably got to put Harvey Weinstein up there. The guy who did that to the whole movie industry, film industry. He's just as bad as Epstein. You ever heard the stories about him? He just wasn't doing it on the island. He was doing it in hotel rooms and penthouses. He would get the actors and actresses. Maybe they all were underage, but he would get all your favorite up-and-coming actresses. He would be having his dick on their chest before they could get to set. Well, Jay-Z's hanging out with him a bunch. They're at dinners. They're folded over a dozen times. They're going left, right, and center. He's answering questions with Jay-Z. That sounds like a handler. So that's where I have the problem with Vlad. Don't backtrack fully and make it seem that what you're saying, if anybody believed it, is an idiot. They're an idiot. There's a lot of questions to be asked. There's a lot of questions to be asked. You know, a while ago, I tried to have a really positive conversation about why Jay-Z would even be in the Epstein files. And, you know, I got met with the number one thing of we're going to protect someone who's lining our pockets. It's like, with all due respect, and I love 21 Savage, but it's like when 21 Savage said on the jail phone to Young Thug, hey, listen, remember when Gunna snitched and we swept it under the rug? Remember when we knew P was a rat, but he was signing all the young niggas in Atlanta and giving them opportunities and money? That's what that reminded me of, where hip-hop media, when I think several other people said, why is Jay's name on here? They all said this first thing that really mirrors the 21 Savage defense of Gunna and also P as this. Why y'all like tearing down black people so much? Okay. That's code word for fuck what he did, fuck how he did it, fuck who he screwed over, fuck who he took advantage of, fuck the past. It's all about where he's at now and what he's doing for us. The entire hip-hop media scope said that. Now one wants to have qualitative conversation. Now, another reason, and really this is like, it's still part of the second reason I'm mad with Vlad about this tweet. His tweet is to make people who are skeptical look like lunatics, like loons, like you're just this out there type of person. You just, oh yeah, you're just sheep. You're fucking retarded. Like you can't look at things and patterns and maybe possible coincidence and then start to string a couple things and be like, this shit don't really make sense. You know, information is key, but too much information will always ruin you. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you get too much information, and we're in the information era, you stop thinking of things as just random possibilities and random coincidences, and you start drawing a little bit of patterns. That's how AI works, if you guys don't know. AI works off two things. It works off training and it works off inference. You have a data center that gets a bunch of data, and they train on the data, which means responses, outcomes, and they learn the patterns of most likely outcomes. And then based on them training on that data, when you ask it a question, hey, listen, if I backflip out this window 3 feet up, which is like 84 feet, and I land onto 3 feet of snow, will I break my pelvic bone? It'll give you a really good answer. That's how AI works. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that for the people who takes Vlad's position to claim that there's a bunch of lunatics and just out there psychotic people that are just like blaming Rock Nation or doing whatever, I always beg those people to enter the realm of conversation that we could put forth all of the patterns that we're seeing that are factual, that seem to connect to maybe a few ongoing conclusions. Nobody wants to have those conversations. Not in hip hop. Remember, why y'all trying to tear a black man down, man? He was about CBS. Okay. I got it. So I think Vlad's tweet did more harm than it did good. I know some people like, oh, Rock Nation is mad at him. By the way, Rock Nation has sent cease and desist for little and less. The mere fact this is still up, I personally believe Rock Nation probably likes this because he's going to spin this as, I put out a tweet for the dummies. This was for all the idiots who don't know anything. They're trying to minimalize and make your thoughts minuscule. But this is why I'm here. Now, let me give you a little bit of history, and then we're going to get into the tweet in its proper order. In 2018, at that point, Donald Trump is the current president of the United States. And if you don't know, he kind of ran his first term on this idea he's going to drain the swamp. And it was this idea that politics is inherently corrupt because all the people with power, more than serving the people that elected them, they all kind of become this cultish, one hand washes the other. It's all about us, F the people. Not really F the people, but what we have here, we're playing musical chairs. I'm senator this time, I'm governor that time, I'm like secretary of this time. We're all in politics. Politics as usual. Who said that? Now, I'm going somewhere with this story, but you have to stick with me and be patient. That's why Trump supposedly got elected. He was someone that was not in the establishment. It was thought of that the establishment inherently was corrupt. The poor people and the people at the bottom always got screwed. The people at the top always won. And yes, Trump was never really at the bottom, but at least he was seen as the outsider.
Whoa. What's that?
I just built a budgeting app with Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
There was theories and thoughts about how politics worked. Politics based on people that were either donors, lobbyists, all of these super PACs that would, kind of influence whether they wanted gun control a little bit lessened or increased. It basically, who cares if you wanted abortion? If there wasn't billionaires that really didn't want or wanted abortion, that would happen. So basically, you were getting out there to vote for people who didn't matter. I'm getting some of the story. Just be patient. Trump gets elected. In 2018, there's this organization that kind of comes about, and they say, hey, listen, we know Trump is in there, but he's getting the rigmarole too. Everybody, it's still politics as usual. There's things going on inside the justice system that is still meant to protect the people that are rich and wealthy and the super billionaires and powerful people there. A lot of people say, hell nah, Trump's one of them. He's gonna rock with the people. They said no. There's this hidden controlling factor of politics that's really moving the invisible hand. They're protecting crime that's been done in front of your face, but you can't prove it. Like what? They're preying upon kids. They're stealing from the poor. They're sacrificing. This is a cabal. It sounded crazy then. Vlad would be one of the people that said, the people who believe these things, they're an idiot. Why? Even though there was a couple patterns that was very noticeable, Jeffrey Epstein notably gets sentenced, or did he kill himself? 2019. We start to see some real proof that maybe the super billionaires and trillionaires and the really rich motherfuckers, maybe they are doing some weird shit, and maybe they're protecting each other. We've seen some stuff by that time that there was some pattern recognition that people could get to. You see why I connected this to AI? That's what people do. AI is trying to be learning like how we do. If you see some things like, wait, how come his shit in terms of him being accused of sex trafficking seems way less transparent than, let's say, Diddy's? There was rumors at that point that came out that says, well, the reason why Epstein's a little bit different is that he had a lot of powerful people that he's protected. If you give up Epstein, you give up them. So they got to protect Epstein, whether he's alive or dead. Now, if I mentioned this name in 2018, they would laugh us out the room. One of the main organizations pushing this was QAnon. At that time, there was another anonymous person that kind of pushed another propaganda or idea of this cabal happening. They pushed an idea that was called Pizzagate. The idea behind both of them, and QAnon basically, I'll tell you what QAnon says. They said, listen, Epstein is not just a sole pedophilic creep or just some, sex trafficker. He's a sex trafficker for billionaires and millionaires and politicians and really powerful people. This guy is why, and I think one of their first accusations was that they said Trump had put someone, like his attorney general or someone, to specially investigate some shit about Russia. But they said that's not really what it is. It's to actually investigate who else is on the Epstein list back then. People laughed at this. Yo, these niggas is nuts. Yo, QAnon, these niggas, yo, what are they smoking? Yo, they're an idiot. Pizzagate. Oh, okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of the people who said it was stupid too. Eight years later, just do a quick Google search. QAnon Epstein. You basically see everybody's saying what QAnon speculated about, we have now seen come to fruition within the Epstein files. They don't seem that crazy no more. They didn't have proof. When they said it was a secret cabal of really wealthy and powerful people that oftentimes was used for leverage, and they would sacrifice and do all that type of stuff. When we now read the super redacted, but half of the Epstein files, the 3 million of them, they seem like they're actually spitting facts. I think you guys get what I'm kind of getting at here. Okay? I think you guys get what I'm getting at. Just to read something about this. The Epstein case fed directly into the rise of QAnon, a conspiracy movement built on the belief that the hidden elite was operating above the law. Does anybody in 2026 now believe, after seeing these Epstein files, the elite aren't operating above the law? What did it take for you to believe it? Because you probably didn't believe it at first. And that's where the Vlad tweet is bigger than the tweet. Okay? All right. So, I hope you got that correlation. The correlation is just simple. The correlation is, it's easy to call people idiots when the information and the full pattern and the proof isn't always there. But this is going to be the main thing of my, whole spiel. Trust your gut. Just trust your gut. Whatever way you fall, just trust your gut. And I'm the guy who's usually, I'm hard facts. But if you see a lot of pattern recognition and you keep seeing a lot of, I got Vlad on the phone. Here we go. Vlad.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm on stream, brother. You're the topic of conversation.
Yeah, you think?
Vlad, what's going on?
Man, look, if you look at like my previous tweets, I was talking about how ridiculous the whole news cycle was, because they're bringing back this old video from May of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she really was the shooter, and people like, oh, look, the evidence is in. And I'm like, this is a tweet from May. And he wasn't even the bodyguard that night. He was the bodyguard who claims he overheard something during the court proceedings, whatever. And people were like, oh, that's because Jay-Z, he bought off all the jurors. I said, okay, that's an interesting idea for a tweet. So I created this whole ridiculous tweet with every conspiracy theory laid out one after the other, to the point of even saying that Jay-Z did a verse for the judge's grandson.
Yeah, that was reaching, of course.
Do you think that was reaching?
Well, hey, listen, I knew this was a satirical tweet from the get-go. I was just speaking about the tweet on stream here. And by the way, Vlad, I'm telling you, you fucked the hip-hop game up with this. Usually I get about 15,000 people watching me. I have 31,000 right now listening to me. Just to let you know, okay? And it's all because of you. So we got to get down to some hard facts. Now,
okay.
I'll tell you two issues. And by the way, I've also said, me and you, we trade podcast appearances. I get on Vlad TV. You come on my show. Our next podcast has to be solely about this, because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Now, I had two issues, and you could, we'll get into real depth, like I guess when we sit with each other. But my two issues was this: I think you sent and fired off this tweet because you slightly have an axe to grind still about Tory. Not that you have a problem with him, but people were skeptical of you when you predicted an outcome, this and third. And I thought you putting up this tweet made an incident so big. Now it's like really kicking his back in for someone who is going through, like, he's incarcerated. It's not like you actually think he did it and he's free. He's incarcerated. He's trying to fight for his freedom or at least some type of relief. And I feel like this is kicking a man when he's down. Okay. Second,
hold on. Can I address the first one, or do you want to tell me?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Tory has been convicted by a jury of 12 people and has been sentenced. He filed an appeal and it was rejected. Now, you could say I'm kicking him while he's down or whatever. He has gone through the legal process and it didn't work out, which is what I've been saying the whole time. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I don't know him. We've never spoken. I ran into his dad and we had a respectful conversation. Me and his dad have each other's phone numbers. I said he can come to my show at any point. Tory can come do live TV if he wants to call in or whatever else. I publicly said I feel really bad over what happened with him over the stabbing incident. But it's just like this constant cycle of like, oh, it was really someone else. He never did it. He's the, Rock Nation manipulated everyone. It's just like a ridiculous theory. In the same way that I've been talking about the Nicki Minaj's of the world and so forth. This is just the same thing. I don't have an axe to pick with Tory. I hope Tory does come home sooner than expected. I've always said this.
Well, the reason why I say you possibly have an axe to grind, and it appears so, and it feels like kicking him while he's down, because like there has always been a controversial case where not all of the constituents or the citizens in the United States or viewing public agree. Like, for example, with O.J. Simpson. Would you go as far to say anybody who believes that O.J. did it, they're an idiot, or they're just like lunatics? Because that's what this kind of comes across. I feel like there's a particular thing about the Tory thing. I really don't think you have anything against him, but I know you, Vlad. When Vlad gives his opinion and he's right, Vlad loves to be like, I told you so. I think this is a told you so moment. Yet again, just is blown up beyond that because now people are making a lot of other assumptions.
I mean, I guess you can frame it how you want to frame it. At the end of the day, this got triggered off of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she was the shooter because you overheard her say it during a conversation. You can check. This whole thing entered the cycle once again. And it was all over like the blogs and everything else like that. And it's like, yo, I don't want Tory to stay in prison. I think he's done his time. He went through a horrific stabbing incident. I hope he comes home early. I have nothing against Tory. He can come do the show. Me and him have had one DM exchange, and that was it. That was it. That's our only interactions. But at the end of the day, this was traded off of the lunacy coming back into the cycle again. At the end of the day, you know that he filed an appeal and it was struck down, right? But then again, only 2% of appeals ever go through.
Yeah. And again, these are things that the reasonable people who still have doubts, they're not denying. But and so, okay, we get it on that Tory part, but I think the bigger part of even why I think this kind of like it broke through the cycle, it's not that you just had an opinion on Tory, is that by lumping this idea of, oh, Jay-Z did this, Roc Nation did this, and then basically saying, well, if you believe that, like, come on, like, this is pure sarcasm. There's a lot of really interesting coincidences or real conversation we can have about Roc Nation and Jay-Z. And while you lump it in here, now people are saying, well, all right, we get the Tory part. Like, I do get the Tory part where you say you're putting out some facts. Hey, he was convicted. Hey, the appeal didn't go through. And the video you guys are talking about was a old press conference that referred and referenced a bodyguard that wasn't a bodyguard that night. And also that bodyguard claimed that their proof was that they overheard a conversation while during the trial when they were bodyguard for Kelsey. And she allegedly—
It's all hearsay, right? Yes. It's all hearsay. Hearsay is not a reason to let someone out of prison. It's just hearsay. And in a court of law, it holds very little, usually no weight at all.
Okay. But the Jay-Z and Meg Thee Stallion stuff and well, really Roc Nation, that's where I think there's certain things that come into play that becomes a little bit, you know, again, for someone like me, and I try to stick to the facts, but pattern recognition, sometimes it feels a little bit more than coincidental. And I think when you mentioned Jay and Roc Nation and how they move, I think even when Nicki's talking about them, I don't think Nicki's out there. I think Nicki's actually speaking facts. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, bro. Nicki's unhinged. She's always been unhinged.
Well, I'm not talking about everything she's saying.
Get out of here. Stop it. Me and you talked about her unhinged behavior.
No. I'm not saying about—
No, you can't use Nicki as like the—
I'm not defending
rational thought.
Okay, I'm not defending everything Nicki's ever said about everyone. I'm saying when it comes to the conversation she's had where she's mentioning Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation, I don't believe those are all just, thoughts of a manic individual that have no either personal experiences with these people to support what she's saying. And here's the thing, the majority of what you've said, I could completely dispute, because even when you say, which obviously you're being facetious, you're saying, well, Roc Nation paid us $10,000 a month, right? Let me ask you a question. You're being facetious, clearly. But do you believe that there's no one in the media, I wouldn't say necessarily getting paid off by Roc Nation, but that has mutually monetary interest that would be in their benefit to defend Roc Nation or Jay-Z?
I think, as you know, not even I think, I know for a fact, and you can agree with me on this, is that once you get into a certain industry, particularly something like music and entertainment, you have relationships, and which often form into friendships with various people. Right. So when you have relationships with people, then you're going to give them a pass. They're not going to talk bad about them, whatever else. You don't hear me ever talk bad about Boosie, right? Me and Boosie have a business relationship and a personal relationship. People have said certain things about Boosie, and I'm like, nah, I'm not co-signing that.
It's a thin line, though, right? Because also, right, it's a very thin line. There's a thin line between friendship and just straight monetary incentive, right? And that's why I'm getting back to the payment, right? Because I think the old school way would be—
So hold on. Me and Boosie, we have a personal relationship. There's also a monetary incentive for both of us.
Yeah.
To keep things moving, right? I pay him for interviews. I mean, everyone knows this is not a secret. I pay him to do interviews. Those interviews are profitable. So we both are mutually dependent on each other. Not dependent on each other, but we work with each other. We both make money with each other. So yeah, there's a monetary incentive there, right?
Yes, there's.
I'm not being extorted by Boosie. The Boosie mafia is out there killing people and
with all due respect,
buying judges and whatever else.
With all due respect, Boosie's not that powerful. There's about 1,000 things Roc Nation has been either behind, whether directly or indirectly, that pattern becomes— I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. But when it comes to, like, say, payment, right? For example, there's a list of individuals that when Jay-Z was going up to get the casino deal, and he was the front celebrity, the face of the possible multi-billion-dollar deal, and they needed approval of the neighborhood council, he brought on a bunch of hip-hop folks to speak on his behalf. Those hip-hop folks, some of them are in media. None of them, has ever thought to, either take anything of him being in the media about whatever with any type of seriousness. I don't think that's friendship. I think that's a business opportunity, right? Like, I don't think some of these people, I don't think they're friends with Jay-Z that much. It's just hey, listen, this is a guy who I'm going to make money with. If y'all are trying to bring him down, you're bringing me down. not going to let it happen. And so that's what I was trying to say. So when you send out that tweet,
I don't think that's much of a point. Of course, people want to work with someone that they have potential business future with. Like, this is just normal business. Like, you know, and plus you're talking about something completely different. You're talking about someone stepping forward as a character witness or someone that's dealt with someone before, as opposed to saying that this guy paid a Mexican pedophile to stab Tory. Right? So you mean to tell me that Jay is going to put his whole future and his family and his legacy on the line, worse than Bill Cosby, right? Because if it was proven that Jay-Z paid to have a man stabbed up, that's worse than what Bill Cosby did, right? And every Jay-Z everything will go down, the NFL deal gone, Apple pulled off the shelves, streaming services done, invited nowhere, NFL deal, forget about it. So you can stab a dude who's already in prison?
Okay, Vlad, I'm going to respond to you, and I'm going to say something that is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to give an explanation. It'll completely make sense.
Okay, here we go.
But this is why when you post what you posted, it's like the feds releasing the Epstein files. I know that sounds crazy.
No, remotely similar, but go ahead.
Here's the explanation. To drown out some of the actual, maybe really credible and things that we could actually be like, oh, that was really going on. Like, for example, in the Epstein files, there's an individual named Les Wexner, former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and also of Victoria's Secret. He was literally funding this guy, knowing all of this happened. Leon Black. There's real things in there, but with the release of it, they would put some crazy shit in there to say George Bush was eating the intestines of children after they sacrificed them and eating the fecal matter out of them. You know why? That people could say, this is all bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the most, like, again, I agree with you on that point you made about, you know, what was them and real things in there. For example, in the Epstein files, there's an individual named Les Wexner, things that we could actually be like, oh, that was really going on. Like, for example, in the Epstein files, there's an individual named Les Wexner, former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and also of Victoria's Secret. He was literally funding this guy, knowing all of this happened. Leon Black. There's real things in there, but with the release of it, they would put some crazy shit in there to say George Bush was eating the intestines of children after they sacrificed them and eating the fecal matter out of them. You know why? That people could say, this is all bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the most, like, again, I agree with you on that point you made about, you know, what was the point? The last point. I don't think everything is credible. But what I'm saying is that when you blanketly act like because some of the things aren't credible means that nobody should believe anything, that becomes a problem, right? Because
what in my tweet? What? Like, name something in my tweet that's credible. Like, any of it. Like, name one credible thing in terms of what I said.
Okay, perfect. All right. So this is what I would offer up. Okay, so you have a confession. Rock Nation been paying me to support Megan. I think when again, it's not credible as pertaining to you, but do I believe that Rock Nation, through its surrogates, has been, you know, financially incentivizing people to either support Megan? Absolutely. Absolutely, right? Now, again, it might not be credible to you, but when you say it as the person who, that's why I said this is the Epstein files, pause. Like, when you say, people think that, well, if this isn't true, it's not true for everybody else, right? Because you're going to come out and say, of course they never paid me. Then people are thinking, well, they never paid anyone, or they don't have any business incentives with people for them to support Meg on behalf of Rock Nation. Also, keep in mind, you know, and this is why I said pattern recognition. If Rock Nation has zero, and this is why I said we could discuss all these at length. If Rock Nation has zero care about the media, right? The media supposedly, you know, supporting Meg or painting her in a favorable light. Why did they essentially give their legal team to Meg Thee Stallion, fund millions of dollars to go after a blogger just to get $59,000, right?
Did Rock Nation actually fund that, or did Megan just fund that herself to prove a point? And I think that when you talk about these media connections and so forth,
Vlad,
like I've really been kind of fair on both times, because the girl that Megan sued, I had a conversation with her and I told her that it's just financial bullying, because at the end of the day, some random blogger that doesn't have a massive following like this girl putting out a couple things about Tory does not change anything.
Vlad,
doesn't change anything.
And this is where
and funding someone like me doesn't change anything.
And
there's too many media outlets out there. It's not like it was in the 1980s, where if you got CNN to get behind you, suddenly you change the whole narrative. No. If they get you, me, everyone we know to say something on their behalf, there's still a much bigger media monster out there and so forth that's going to drown it all out.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because they claimed that Joe Budden, me, and Milagro was enough to sway people in Tory's favor. So why wouldn't you?
Well,
think?
of course they're going to say that in court because they're trying to win money in the case.
They
And
spent
so
millions of dollars.
forth.
But hold on. Let me just.
I don't agree with this. I totally don't agree.
Okay.
I think that this girl and Joe Budden saying something makes no difference in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
That's not a shot to either of them.
And let me connect the dots real quick in terms of Rock Nation. And when we do have our in-person conversation.
Tom, my boyfriend's missing. Tom! Do not trust anyone.
I want you to ask me for proof because I'm not here to just say shit that is in belief, right? So, of Rock Nation. And when we do have our in-person conversation, I want you to ask me for proof because I'm not here to just say shit that is in belief, right? So, when I spoke about and I did a 7-hour deposition with the law, is the same law firm that's representing her that is Alex Spiro, who's Jay-Z's personal attorney, his firm, okay, Quinn Emanuel. I sat through an 8-hour deposition. In hour 5, one of the 7 attorneys on the call, they actually slipped up, and while trying to show me an exhibit, they show their chat. And their chat to each other was, hey, Akademiks just said this. Could you let Desiree Perez, not Meg Thee Stallion, Desiree Perez, the CEO of Rock Nation. So I know you're saying, oh, Rock Nation has nothing to do with it. Why would that be a thing? Why would in a deposition with me for Meg versus this woman, they need to alert Rock Nation if they're not behind it? And I have proof of this. This is not something I made up. I have literal proof.
Okay. So you have an artist that's tied to Rock Nation that's suing somebody using the same law firm that Rock Nation uses. Whether Rock Nation is funding it or not funding it, I'm not quite sure.
And they're relaying information.
This is all regular legal shit. People sue all the time. I sue people. People sue me. People have sued you before. I'm not sure if you've sued people. Like, this is regular business shit. People
and they're relaying information to Rock Nation, but you think they're
okay.
They're
but isn't Megan signed to Rock Nation? So there is a business connection there. That's all fine. That's all plausible. Jay-Z buying off every juror and paying the doctor to lie about Megan getting shot. No.
Like, Vlad, that's why I keep saying Epstein files. We're not saying the doctor was bought off. Like, again, I'm a skeptic. I'll definitely say I'm a skeptic. I'm one of the educated skeptics. So some of this like low-hanging fruit, I'm going to quickly dismiss it to get to the real actual points. You see the real actual point I just said? The real actual point is I sat through a 7-hour deposition and they're relaying information to Rock Nation when you initially thought Rock Nation had zero to do with this Meg Thee Stallion lawsuit. Clearly they do if they're sending the info to the CEO. Secondly, during the trial, it's well documented that on the days that even when Meg Thee Stallion was not there, they saw sitting in tandem with the DA was Desiree Perez, CEO of Rock Nation. Again, hey, those things probably should make you raise an antenna to say, hey, maybe Rock Nation, even if it's just for their artists, and obviously think about them as a company. Think about them as a company. They have maybe a financial incentive of trying to make her look like a victim or get Tory out the way. That their CEO that could be on doing anything at the time is sitting in court when even their client isn't there, Meg, to make sure and confirm with the DA, hoping to get a guilty outcome. That's a little bit odd, but okay. It might be coincidence.
Well, hold on. Their client is in court, not as someone being prosecuted, but as the victim. They're being supportive of their client, and
they're confirmed with the DA.
Personal, you know how it is in this business. Yeah, like you sign to people and you have personal relationships with people. I don't know what the personal relationship is between Megan and the people she signed to. Does she have a personal relationship with Jay? Does she have a personal relationship with Desiree? I mean, it's quite likely. And people showing up to support people, that's pretty normal. You see this all over the place. People are making a big deal because
you're missing the point. I'm trying to show you the proof of why regular people would think something seems odd. Have you ever heard of, in any regular cases, you're right, you've watched criminal cases, you've sued people civilly, and you've been sued, and so have I on a civil level. Have you ever seen where a CEO of a company that is signing a supposed victim, Meg Thee Stallion, is speaking to a DA in court while they are pursuing charges on someone else? Have you seen a manager talk to the DA as if they possibly could have some influence or could even ask questions when they're not the victim? That doesn't sound odd to you?
I don't see the huge problem with it. Like, you're representing the victim. At the end of the day, you're concerned about the victim. The victim is signed to you, and you may have an actual friendship with the victim.
So you're saying
you're on the side of the prosecution in this particular case, right? DA is representing.
They're not a victim. So if I go into court when they're prosecuting,
Megan's not the victim. What?
No, but
Megan's the victim.
Desiree Perez.
Hold on. She's basically sitting with the victim's lawyers, the DA, right? That's the victim's lawyer. The district attorney is legally representing Megan.
Yes.
You're sitting with the lawyers of the victim.
Desiree Perez is not a lawyer.
No, hold on. When
She's not a lawyer.
Huh?
Desiree Perez is the CEO of Rock Nation. She's not a lawyer.
The DA is a lawyer.
Yes.
Right?
But why would they be sitting with a company CEO for a civil case between two individuals?
I'm sorry?
Why would the DA be sitting with a CEO of a company in a case between an aggravated assault case between two individuals? It's like imagine the CEO of Google comes to talk to the DA, about you versus somebody getting a fist fight. You wouldn't say this is a little bit odd.
Listen. If I signed you, right? Me and you are friends, right? We talk off camera way more than on camera, right? Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, me and you talk all the time. We run into each other. It's all love, whatever else, right?
Okay.
If you got attacked and the DA represented you, and you were signed to me, let's say, I signed you. I signed Akademiks, right? And then you got brutally attacked and someone shot you. Let's say Nicki shot you in the foot, right? Nicki Minaj shot Akademiks in the foot, and Akademiks went to the DA. The DA is, taking his case on. He's going to court, and I sat with you on the DA side, and I'm talking to the DA saying, how do you think this is going? Whatever else. Why would that be weird at all? I am with my friend / client as he's being represented legally in a very serious case. Like, it's not that weird. It's not that strange at all. I would probably do the same thing. I would sit there and talk to the DA, hoping that you would get justice in this case.
The picture that was painted is that they were conferring as if the CEO of Rock Nation has a particular stake. But okay, again, you see, I'm pointing out coincidences.
She has a client that's financially viable.
Okay, all right.
And they may even have a personal relationship on top of that.
But Vlad, you can't have this both ways then, right? Because
but you don't know what they're saying. Desiree Perez saying, I'll pay the DA.
I'm trying to stick to factual, but you're trying to have it both ways. I'm gonna tell you why, right? So I'm talking about a factual thing that happened. I'm saying I think that seems out of the ordinary. You're saying no, it doesn't. Well, if you're admitting, right, you're saying it doesn't seem out of the ordinary because they have this financial stake in Meg. Why does it seem out of the ordinary that maybe if their financial stake in Meg is that people see her as this victim and that Tory doesn't get to tell his part, maybe why does it not seem kind of not out of the ordinary that maybe they paid somebody to go attack him? Why does one seem completely normal and then the other, like if they need to show up to court, they're right there in the DA's ear. Now Tory's convicted, but he's still he's still shouting on the highest mountains. By the way, Meg's career has not recovered since then. People still think of her like a liar. You don't think the one thing that could make this all go away is if Tory dies? Why don't you think that maybe I'm not taking that leap, but what I'm saying is that you're on one side of the fence, you're saying it's completely normal that they have a stake in their artist and their artist is going through a case. They have financial incentive there. That's why they're talking to the DA. Fine. I'm giving you that. That's normal. Well, why is it then not normal if you feel like this guy might be nearing an appeal decision or whatever? Hey, let's make sure this motherfucker don't get out. Is that such a wild thing that they have no stake there either? And I'm not only talking about the stabbing. I'm not only talking about the stabbing. I'll talk about other things.
Okay, I would completely address this. Showing up for physical and emotional support is totally legal. Hiring someone for murder and risking your entire future, ending up, listen, a murder for hire? You're talking about Desiree Perez sitting there right next to Lil Durk. In a murder for hire case, if this was actually true, that's a huge leap. Showing up to court and having some words with the DA, hiring someone for murder, paying off a judge, paying off jury tampering, judge tampering. These are all serious felonies. And you're not going to say it's the same thing because it's not. These are totally different accusations.
Okay.
If you were signed to me, I will show up to court, I talk to the DA.
Okay.
She's like, yo, man, I need you to kill Nicki Minaj. I said, no, I'm good. You're on your own with this one, Act. I need you to pay off the jury. Pay off the jury? Are you crazy? No, I'm not paying off anybody.
Okay, so what you're trying to do right now, you're doing a little bit of straw man, but let me say this to you. If 7 years ago I told you that maybe there were these wealthy people who used another wealthy guy that we don't know how he got rich, and they use his connects to go fuck with little girls and go over to an island, would you say who the hell would be billionaires and risk their freedom too? Would you say that, or would you say no? Of course they would do it.
Listen, obviously the Epstein files proved what they proved. And there's
what did they prove? What they proved is that there are people who think they're so powerful, they operate above the law and beyond the law, and you can't put out of their reach that they might do something like that. That's the proof. More than sticking to one particular thing. Okay, let's say the Mexican guy has nothing to do with whatever. You don't think that there's probably a little bit of influence politically? Like, clearly when Tory gets locked up, is he the pardon or he's going to get an appeal? You don't think maybe there's a little bit of throwing their weight around to maybe make sure that Gavin Newsom, knows, hey, listen.
Introducing Iron Beam, the best choice for futures trading. Iron Beam is the industry-leading broker.
The powers that be would not like a pardon to even be discussed. Right. And maybe we don't see that, but maybe later on we see Gavin Newsom kicking it with some of the same people, kind of accusing the same cabal. They're at the Fanatics Fest in 2026 at the Super Bowl week. I don't know. I'm just saying, at what point do we start looking at the Epstein files and say we ignored a lot of shit? And Vlad, in 2018, people would have called those people lunatics. In 2019, lunatics. 2020, lunatics. All the way up till half the files are released. They're like, fuck, these guys are really spitting.
Listen, I don't think that you need to pay off Gavin Newsom too.
It's not about paying off. It's influence.
No, listen, at the end of the day, Tory is an immigrant. No, sorry, not even immigrant. He is a Canadian citizen that came over to this country and shot a U.S. citizen in the foot, and he was convicted of it. I don't think that Gavin Newsom is going to pardon him on any level. He doesn't need Jay-Z or Desiree Perez or even Epstein to try to get him to change his mind. Tory's not going to be pardoned by Gavin Newsom. I even threw in that tidbit at the end. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to make it totally obvious. And Jay-Z even paid off Donald Trump not to pardon Tory, even though he can't actually do it. But, Trump likes to bend the rules. Trump cannot pardon someone in a state case. We both know that. I'm literally just making shit up as I'm typing.
I'm not getting at your post. We acknowledge that you were being facetious. What I'm saying is that the overall, I know you're going to continue with saying, hey, listen, everything I said, these are complete just bullshit. And I'm not talking about everything specifically, but there are some overtones that we should possibly look at. For example, I do think there's a conversation to be had about even how that process, like if we're going to make it about Tory, which I think is bigger than that. The conversation of, all right, why and when was Tory charged, right? If you want to believe certain things in his appeal or other things that got reported, it was said that, okay, yes, Meg was a little bit non-cooperative, but they approached the DA. They approached the DA and said, hey, listen, we need this guy to be indicted. And the indictment came. And so what happened is everything that happened. Now, again, I'm not here trying to argue, law and order or should justice be given. But my thing is the invisible hand. There's always and this is what the Epstein files is about. These people that did shit behind the scenes that was really in plain sight, but it was always seen as coincidence. It was always seen as, okay, why are these two hanging out? It's not until you see them on an island in a picture with like a Power Ranger panties like in between them, you're like, oh, they're fucking kids. At some point, we have to figure what these associations are. Yes, Jay's named twice in the Epstein files, but he was kicking it with Harvey Weinstein. I just want the Stein files. That's it. Not just Epstein, the Weinstein files too. You don't think there should be something, maybe even asked about when it comes to, have you seen the videos of Jay and Weinstein solely cozying up? No?
I mean, they have, did they have some sort of relationship? Was Weinstein a major Hollywood player? And was Jay-Z also a major entertainment player? Yeah.
Was Weinstein a major creep and accused of being a major creep?
Well, he got convicted of it. So yes, he was. Was Jay part of any of these activities?
As Jay-Z has any accusations that could be similar to that, not saying he's convicted or even accused, but do you think there should be no conversation, or you think it's just so out the realm of possibility for even a discussion to be had?
Listen, we could always have discussions about everything, and that's cool. The whole purpose of these tweets is to show people how gullible they actually are. That's the joke. The joke wasn't my tweet. It was the reaction, and I was right. Like this tweet is at over 10 million impressions right now.
I know.
And all over TikTok, all over Instagram, all over other social media platforms. It probably has 100 million impressions, but would you say that's right?
It does, but I do want to, so again, and I'm trying to focus the conversation here on really the biggest, again, you're my man, so it's like we'll never really have a real problem with each other when it comes to like this, but just on a debate level. But my problem with this is actually everybody at this point, and I did a lead up when I was introing this topic to explain your platform, what you've done, how you have, essentially at this point, you are one of the biggest hip hop platforms and one of the biggest independent media platforms that was once ostracized and people, tried to disrespect. At this point, I think you've taken respect, and I love that. And you are putting out some of the greatest content. I love that too. But I do want to say when you put a tweet out like this, and you're right, I'm actually using your own words that you just said about like a minute ago, when you said you wanted to show how some people are stupid or dumb for even believing this. Well, you do realize that a lot of your own viewers that watched you over the years, when maybe you were ostracized for some of the hip hop interviews you now get, they watched you basically try to decode whether it was a Tupac's murder, whether it was Biggie's murder. And at that point, we've gotten official responses from all investigative bodies that sometimes went against what you later found, which later then came out. And we know that's the case with Tupac. So there's a time that we could have been watching your content and said, why does Vlad have this fucking lunatic on here talking all this shit? Years later, we see in Vegas, the guy got picked up for everything he said on your podcast. So what I'm saying is that how much are the people that are believing either any of this or some of it or even a piece of it stupid, or maybe, there's some things to be discussed. Maybe even if you were being I think you're being satirical.
Look, part of my job is to educate my viewers as well. Like, I want the overall intelligence of my community to go up. And if that means I ostracize certain people who think that everything I said in that tweet is true, then I get it. You know, not every person is matched to a certain media personality, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, name me something in that tweet that has any level of truth, and I'll gladly discuss it. Now, if something comes forward, if it was proven that Jay paid off the doctor or had something to do with the judge or whatever else, and it goes to court and it gets proven in the same way that Epstein got proven, same way that what's his name, Harvey Weinstein got proven, then that's cool. We can discuss it. But these are all just weird allegations. These are all conspiracy theories. The same way that Tory's dad had that outburst at the end. It's like, it's all Rock Nation. Rah, rah, rah. That doesn't help anybody, man. That doesn't help anybody. It's not going to help get Tory out. And at the end of the day, Tory has to work through the legal system. His appeal did not go through, which is, not a surprise. Only 2% of appeals goes through. If he finds, now Tory wants to use his bodyguard, but his bodyguard has had a chance to actually testify during the trial. Tory had a chance to take the stand. And this is when I ran to his dad. The first thing I said was, listen, I said what I said about your son, but I still feel that if he didn't do it, he should have taken the stand. His dad's like, well, he couldn't have done that. And I'm like, no, he could have. He could have done that. Because I interview lots of people who take the stand in their own cases and end up winning.
Scrub Daddy?
I'm Aaron, but here's your daddy.
Vistaprint prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes. So
Okay, so, and again, I'm only going off things that, I think people who are rational and reasonable could maybe say, well, that's interesting, and just have a question. And I mentioned one of those things, as you just said. Well, in your tweet, it says they paid off a doctor to lie about bullet fragments. She was never shot.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is the actual story of how all of that came about, right? This is not just lunatics making that up. Some people might believe that the doctors may have gotten some type of outside interference. I'll tell you why. Because after Meg Thee Stallion had contact with the police, and she said, I was not shot. I stepped on glass. She was transported to the Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and after they did an initial examination, there was an actual doctor, Dr. Lafredo, who said that the injury seems consistent with glass, not a bullet. So a doctor did say that. However, a further doctor, which I believe was an orthopedic doctor, then did a full scan of her foot, and then they actually said, yes, there are bullet fragments that we need to perform some minor surgery. So here's the thing. There's two different doctors that we're hearing with two different situations. And the medical report was actually, it was supplemented to an LAPD report. So it's not that someone just wrote it up. So do you at least understand that if people do think that, oh, wait, why is that switch up? It's like when the government tells us, hey, COVID wasn't created in the lab. Then later they're like, yeah, that shit was created in the lab. Which one are we supposed to believe? If you hear multiple reports, it's normal for the human mind. It's not because they're lunatics or stupid for them to say, well, why did the answer change? And that's where speculation comes in.
Yeah, and I get it. And look, in a court of law, the judge instructs the jury to say that if this particular witness or whatever person who takes a stand is lying and is caught lying, you could say that everything else they're saying is lying as well, right? And in the case of Megan, she was caught lying multiple times outside of the courtroom. She did say she stepped on glass first. Her explanation was, I didn't want the police to start arresting everybody and everything else like that, especially, in this environment. I think it was COVID and the police were, targeting Black people and everything else like that. So yeah, she was caught lying with that. And also when she did Gayle King, they asked if her and Tory had a sexual relationship. She said no. Yes, she was caught lying with that too. I think that's the problem, that Megan was lying a couple of times when she didn't have to. And that in turn made people think, well, she must be lying about every other single thing. But the thing is that she was not under oath with those other lies. When she takes a stand, she is under oath, and it's a whole different story. You know that. People say lots of shit in the media and in interviews. Once they take the stand, like we saw, for example, Cassie's story changed. The civil lawsuit said one thing, but when she took that stand and took that oath and was under threat of perjury, she started saying very different stories. Oh, yes, yes, I guess he did. I did say that he raped me, but I guess he didn't really rape me, at the end, because I went and saw him again multiple times after that. So, yeah, I guess that part of the lawsuit is not exactly true. You see what I'm saying? It is very different. I think. And again, I think that a lot of people are saying, well, Megan must be lying about everything because she lied about those couple things, right? And I get why people think that. I've never had a conversation with Megan. Ever. I have no connection with her whatsoever. I don't know her manager. I don't know her. She's never reached out to thank me for being supportive of her during the whole time. I said, listen, Tori's gonna go to jail over this. She's never thanked me for this. I don't know her. I don't have a dog in this fight whatsoever. But at the end of the day, reality is reality. Tory got convicted. Tory's appeal didn't go through. He's going to have to, sit out the whole rest of the time. And I don't think Jay had anything to do with this situation. I think Tory being drunk, Tory having a little man complex. You've seen all types of other violent incidents that Tory has had, right? Mm-hmm. He's threatened people. He's wanting to take guns. He played. With guns and so forth. He had, substance problems. And ultimately, when someone is going through situations like that, things like this happen. Okay. And there's repercussions to that. And this is why he is where he is right now.
I'm not, listen, I think Tory made a couple of mistakes that night. I think he was chasing that punani. Yeah. Right. Just like many men, that insatiable thirst and appetite for, for beautiful women. That's pretty much kind of where everything kind of devolved and really, spiraled. So I agree with you. He made mistakes.
Hold on. I just want to say this. By the way, after I put this out, I had a message from one of the nurses that was there when Megan went to the hospital. And she said, I was a travel nurse in LA. Megan had bullet fragments removed from her heels. I seen this with my own eyes. I pulled out meds for the doctor for pain and to numb the areas so she can tolerate the removal.
Well,
I think she had bullet fragments, man. I don't think Jay-Z brought the doctor and threw some bullet fragments out and said, hey, put these on the scene.
Well, tell that travel nurse congratulations on violating HIPAA laws. And, if they ever subpoena your DMs and they found out who that is, that person will be prosecuted.
Listen, you want to send messages out to media outlets,
Hey, no, it's neither here nor there.
That is on you. I can't protect her at this point. I'm not saying her name at this point, but
it's neither here nor there. Like, I guess, I hear your Tory specific points. And, my overall thing is that I won't agree, even though I know you're being satirical, whatever, but I do want people to know there's an invisible hand in mostly everything in American society, whether it's politics, whether it's media, whether it's hip hop, whether it's with labels, whether it's this whole new infrastructure with AI. There's always going to be an invisible hand. And if you think that everything needs to be completely black and white without doubt for you to completely just believe it, no, doubt is what usually is the prerequisite. I'll give you this about the pardoning. Like, yes, I believe this is completely bullshit what you're saying when you say Jay-Z paid for Trump not to pardon Tory. Obviously, Trump can't pardon Tory. It's a state case. But what we should be very aware of is that, number one, there's influence everywhere. And I'm gonna just use this quick analogy. If you think that this is like politicians don't get influence, maybe not paid, because yes, you go to jail if that's found out. But if you think that there's not influence anywhere, think about this, okay? In 2025, Trump pardoned a host and list of people. If you really look at that list, you'll start to kind of realize how stuff goes. Number one, yes, Kentrell Galden was pardoned, which obviously we know is actually not pardoned. His sentence actually was pardoned. Yeah, he's pardoned for his sentence with the gun, and his thing was commutated, which was his jail sentence, or it was on house arrest at the time. But if you look at the other people on that list, right, one includes, and some of these names, at least for the public, they might not know who these people are. But Julie Chrisley and also, or Chrisley, I think I might be saying the name wrong, and Todd Chrisley, both of them also got pardoned. Those are the ones that really, those are the bigger things than bigger fish to fry than Youngboy. Youngboy gets the conversation. But go look at what they did and look at how, if you think these things are random, the daughter of both of them spoke at the Republican National Committee, the RNC conference a year before. The same month, they did an interview on Fox with a Make America Great Again hat, really chanting, yo, we love Trump, we love Trump. If you think it's just random that her mom gets pardoned and her dad gets pardoned after that, there's no influence on whether it's Trump or even Gavin Newsom, okay, all right, the coincidences are just too crazy. But if you then say Gavin Newsom, who actually does have the power to pardon Tory, if you think there's been zero influence, while he, like, again, maybe he's not speaking about the case particularly, no one's asked him about it, but he's putting up posts using Meg Thee Stallion songs, okay? Not once, not twice, multiple times at this point, from what I've seen, unless maybe some of those edits, but definitely at least once, because I saw it on his account. Then you see him basically, shoulder to shoulder at the right, like, what I think has kind of replaced the Rock Nation brunch because it got too hot because of Diddy, is pretty much all this Fanatics Fest stuff. They now do the white parties and they do all the, hey, this is the industry, rigmarole, the shish kebab. This is the place where we all get it going. You see Gavin Newsom there. He's putting up a bunch of Meg Thee Stallion stuff. Maybe he's just a fan. Maybe he likes to twerk. I hear he's into trans stuff, but whatever. Either that's the case, or maybe the people who he's rubbing shoulders with, they might say, hey, listen, just if this ever comes on your desk, we can't pay you. That's clearly fraud, and that's a jailable offense. But We don't fuck with that guy, Tory. I don't know. I wouldn't have proof of it because if I did, it would be a bigger story. But it is an interesting coincidence that the governor is hanging with the niggas that basically wouldn't want to see Tory out. And essentially, when he's posting, trying to make political ads, he's using Meg Thee Stallion songs. I don't know. Coincidence again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's not like Tory was on the verge of getting pardoned. Even the Menendez brothers didn't get pardoned. And they did like 30 years. At the end of the day, you can't go to any country, right? Let an American go to any country in the world and shoot one of their citizens and think that they're going to get pardoned by the governor or president of that country. Seriously, just take a step back. Tory is not an American citizen. He may sound American when he raps and talks, but he's a Canadian citizen. He's going to get deported the day he gets out.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
No. That's a big deal.
No, I hear what you're saying, but Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom.
A huge incentive for Gavin Newsom not to pardon this guy. This guy's never on the verge of getting pardoned. He went to the Supreme Court of California and they struck him down.
Hold on. Here's the thing, though. Gavin Newsom, though, he's been preventing ICE from coming into his state because he's not into deportation. So what you're saying about Tory, he technically wouldn't be with. So
no. You can't compare an old man that's been living in this country for 30 years, getting roughed up and thrown into a van and sent back to Mexico, and someone who comes over to shoot somebody. I don't think that Gavin Newsom has a problem with people illegal aliens who shoot people in California getting deported. I think he's totally fine with those people getting deported.
Vlad, he is.
Okay, it's not the same. No, you can't. You can't connect those two dots.
Vlad, LA itself is a sanctuary city. Like they literally are saying when they release their inmates, even if there's a federal hold detainer that should instantly transfer them to ICE, they're actually going against federal orders. When ICE asked if they could round up people in LA County, they said, no, you out there, you know what's up. So don't act like this guy. Again, I'm not, obviously we're getting into the weeds here, but the idea that you're trying to say, this was completely off the table because this guy is going to be deported. Well, the guy that would be considering it don't even believe in deportations, technically, if we're talking about what he outwardly supports.
We're not even talking about deportation. We're talking about a foreigner coming into this country and shooting one of the U.S. citizens. No one's for this. Nobody's cool with this. Nobody.
Not explicitly, but if you're not down to stand against them getting deported, it seems like you're looking at it not like that.
Governors before. I have connections with governors, right? I have certain governors on text that answer back right away, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell them to go against, to go and pardon somebody who went into their state and shot somebody from a different country. It's a whole different situation. Being an ICE sanctuary city and actually freeing someone who shot a woman who's an American citizen who came from another country to do it. No one is cool with this. Nobody's going to co-sign this. I don't think Trump would have pardoned Tory if it was a federal case. Trump has been paid off with people, right? Trump you could probably buy, right? Which is why I put in that whole ridiculous thing. Oh, he even paid off Trump because Trump likes to bend the rules. Trump is dealing with a governor that hates him. Trump cannot call Gavin Newsom and say, "Hey, listen, make an exception and free Tory because they just paid me $10 million."
Hey, I'm not putting anything against
Gavin Newsom. Tell them kick rocks.
They hate each other. I'm not putting anything above any of these politicians. Again, Trump himself has pardoned.
You're right. At the end of the day, politics, everything can be worked out.
Trump has pardoned people. Some of the January 6ers who got pardons. It's not just a pardon for that one particular thing. It was blanket pardons, which a lot of them had domestic violence and other thing that was violence against women on their docket. And it's not been wiped clean. So the idea that a governor is above, and here's the thing, it's not something where everyone is in cahoots that, we believe he did it. It's kind of, it's a little bit, I'm looking at it from the hip hop perspective. I don't know what the mainstream perspective. It feels still split. Maybe 40-60, 60-40, whatever way you want to go with it. This is something that some people,
You, just you, building your app on base 44.
It's kind of going down how some people viewed eventually the Central Park 5. And again, not to kind of completely bring it there, but some people felt like that happened and some people felt like it didn't. And then later on, those people were eventually free. So
exonerated. I mean, listen, I did the first hip hop Central Park 5 interview.
Okay.
Which with I think two of the guys that eventually led to the documentary that they were exonerated and whatever else. I get it. I get it. But
has Rock Nation reached out?
What's that?
Has Rock? I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, Rock Nation has not reached out.
I think that's the story in itself.
Gmail account. I remember my assistant got some weird email saying, "I'm representing Rock Nation. You need to remove that tweet immediately." Someone with a Gmail account I've never heard of. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Vlad,
and if Rock Nation, let's just say, because remember I was on Piers Morgan with the whole Jaguar rights situation, which he spewed all that nonsense. Yeah. And Rock Nation did reach out to Pierce, and Pierce did publicly apologize and take that clip down and so forth. If Rock Nation were to reach out, I will gladly say it was all sarcasm. It was comedy. It was designed to make people look silly, which it did. In fact, I think it helped you guys more than anything else.
I think that's why they haven't reached out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it actually helps them way more than it hurts them on any level. Because conspiracy theorists are always going to think that, regardless of what they put out. I think they're totally fine with it. In the same way, listen, Sneeko called me the same night and asked me about it. I've never doubled down on this. I've said, yeah, like at the point that I got off Twitter, I've been admitting that this is all, this is all silly.
All right. So the follow-up question to that would be, because I believe you, right?
Yeah.
Knowing how Rock Nation operates, they've, there's a video that was discovery material from Desiree Perez, CEO of Rock Nation, and her daughter ongoing case, which was a home recording that made its way online. And Rock Nation quickly reached out to any outlets that even used it and said, hey, listen, we will pursue legal action. They've also reached out when people even, made any more than a light insinuation when he had civil accusations. They are really lawyer ready. So the fact that they haven't done that with you, they probably think you're help doing their bidding. Do you feel like at this point that your post and demeanor to say this is to make y'all look foolish actually helps Rock Nation, because they really want to, it's like the real creeps in the Epstein files are saying, yeah, look at all this other stuff. Did you really believe George Bush was eating the intestines of little children? Again, do you think that maybe your post still being up is actually, indirectly working for them, or, it seems to be helping them?
I don't have a dog in the fight with either person. I don't have a relationship with Jay. I don't have a relationship with Megan. I don't have a relationship with Rock Nation or anyone really has to do with Megan or so forth. Nor do I have a relationship with Tory. I am really totally neutral in this case. I'm a complete outsider, which isn't always the case in my line of work because I have relationships with a lot of people. I've interviewed a lot of people. But in this particular case, I've never sat down with Jay. I've never sat down with Megan. I've never sat down with Tory.
Interesting.
All three of those, I don't have any level of connection with. Like I said, me and Tory, we exchanged one set of DMs a long time ago during his trial, where I made a comment about him and he DM'd me and called me a cop or whatever else. He tried to see what I actually knew, and I told him, like, what I know is what's obvious out there. And that's that. He's like, well, you a cop. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, I've always said, if Tory wants to come do an interview. In fact, there was a conversation about him doing an interview on Vlad TV, while locked up. The other day, I have nothing against Tory. When I met his dad, I was super respectful. And me and his dad have each other's phone numbers. His dad could call me and address all this.
Hey, so, and I know you put that offer out there. I'm wondering if, and you say you have no dog in a race or horse in a race, whatever.
Yeah.
Would you do an interview with Nessa? And I know you've had Van before, if you would do it with either. So let me give you the story behind them and their connection with the Rock Nation and Jay-Z. So Nessa is the girlfriend or maybe wife of Colin Kaepernick. She came out, and I know you have said Nikki is just a whack job, but she came out and she supported Nikki. She said, well, some of the things that she's saying actually goes right in line with my experience. Jay-Z came in and co-opted this entire movement that my husband or my guy started by kneeling, and he basically communicated with us that he was on our side. He got us out of pain. He basically did the bidding off the NFL. And it was, again, I'm still going to say the byproduct of the invisible hand moving those out that is problematic and getting what they want, whether it's a conviction, whether it's, get this motherfucker to stop kneeling. We trying to get some ads. She has a story to tell. I think she's still on Hot 97. I don't think she's cuckoo. Van Lathan, who used to work for TMZ, came out and said, hey, when the stories broke of, I think it was Colin, either when he was trying to get back in the NFL or something adjacent to Colin Kaepernick in the NFL, there was conversation. I think he said this publicly too. There was conversation that came to the office via Rock Nation that was preventing basically Colin Kaepernick from looking a certain way, or they were trying to plant a story. I can't remember the real thing. He could speak about it because I've talked about this with him in length. And he started to say, I'm not going to lie, there's something about this Rock Nation shit. It's kind of spooky. That's what we would love for you to investigate, though, Vlad, because you're really good at this. But I'm telling you that there's some non-kooky stuff that we should really talk about that, again, yes, your tweet you just made up on the fly, but some of these people you're talking about, they're not just like randomly named. It's a reason why people would believe it. And
yeah, I mean, look, Jay has a major role in the NFL right now. The fact that he gets to pick the halftime performer really makes him a kingmaker. Think about the favors that he could cash in years to come in exchange for putting certain people. Like, for example, do you think Bad Bunny will tell him no for anything he asks in the future?
Hey,
Jay really went against the grain and put a guy in the Super Bowl who doesn't speak any English and pissed off everyone. And the president, there was a whole competing halftime show, whatever else. Jay did this with a solid, and Bad Bunny owes him. So obviously it's a major position, and in the position, part of the dialogue between the NFL and Jay was like, listen, we kind of want this Kaepernick thing to kind of go away. We kind of downplay it. Yeah, okay, I get it. He has a financial incentive to make it go away and so forth. Nessa has a baby with Kaepernick. So obviously she's going to play things a certain type of way. Now, when I look at that case, just to be honest, though, you had a mediocre quarterback at that point. And you could look at my interview with Warren Sapp, right? Who is a major NFL Hall of Famer, who is tied to the Raiders.
You're trying to change the point, though. Like,
no, hold on.
I've never defended this guy as a good quarterback.
It was one of the worst tryouts ever.
Fentanyl hides in.
You go and sue a corporation and then want a job afterwards? Good luck with that. It wasn't going to happen anyways. But did Jay have some sort of like, okay, he kind of moved things around to make sure that the job he got was secure? Yeah, maybe. But that's a lot different than sending someone to go kill a guy in prison and hiring a pedophile to do it, which is what happened, right? It's different than paying off a judge, having some words with someone or whatever else and using your star power. Listen, man, you and I use our star power to get shit. Have you ever been to a restaurant and there's no reservation? Oh, academics, come on in. I got a table for you. Oh, no, it's on the house. Here's some free food. Oh, here's a discount on this. Here's that.
Vlad, I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is that there's only one entity that's hip hop adjacent or hip hop related that have 5,000 accusations of underhanded tactics going all the way from framing people for convictions to influencing powerful people to keep other people's out the spot that we could tangibly see every day that are actually making decisions, right? It's not like we're like, no, like
did he hasn't been doing this his whole career? The Shine case, the whole case with the celebrity basketball game.
Hold on, and the whole dialogue about Diddy is that once the power and influence went away, he got exposed, and even the things that we learned. How was he able to cover up this for 20 years or 30 years? How? If they told you he blew up Kid Cudi's car back in 2010, you would have said that's ridiculous. This guy's a billionaire. Who would actually threaten their livelihood as a billionaire to break in someone's house with a gun and then blow up his house with some type of firebomb? Wouldn't you say that, Vlad? It would sound ridiculous.
Yeah, no, listen.
And now when we see the videos and pictures, we're like, wow.
I see your point in this, and look, and then it kind of came out later on that Diddy was a drug addict, right? And this is some druggy behavior, right? This is what drug addicts do. You've never seen someone do something stupid on drugs? I have.
Well, and let me tell you,
car on fire?
From my knowledge in the entire entertainment industry, everyone has their vice or their drug of choice or whatever.
Right.
But I think the biggest drug overall is power, and absolute power corrupts. And the point is this: when you look at Rock Nation and Jay-Z, like, it doesn't. I don't think I would call someone stupid or foolish if they said this, right? Let me just make if someone said, or let's say a Drake fan says, "Hey, I think that Jay-Z may have wanted to, add a little bit flame to the fire of Kendrick Lamar, and he made Kendrick perform that the biggest song that was dissing the biggest rapper at the time that just legacy-wise, his legacy is being compared to this guy. He gave the guy the platform that he could try to bring the other guy down. Would that be like so far-fetched to even come up with that? Granted, we don't have to prove.
I think that people do a lot of legal stuff to move their influence around and so forth. I've done it. You've done it. At the end of the day, I've had situations where people come to me and say, "Hey, we want to interview this guy that doesn't like you."
The problem is we're not that powerful, Vlad.
And they're like, "All right, cool. Yeah, fuck that guy then." I'm trying to maintain a relationship with you. I mean, I've told lots of times that Boosie called me and said, "Can you please stop interviewing Charleston White?" And
by you admit that,
I get it. And me and Charles ran into each other. You were right there when it happened. I walked up to him, we talked about it. I'm like, "Yo, bro, like, I don't have anything against you, but this whole thing about talking about kids and all that is really not cool." And he's like, "I know, but it's just words." And me and him talk. I don't have any hatred towards him, but Boosie pulled that card, and he used his influence, and based on our relationship, he pulled that off. You haven't seen the Charleston interview since then.
Hey, and right? I agree with you that these things happen. And
this is normal. This is normal.
And my thing is this. And I've always said, like, hey, listen, it's a reason. If I ran to Spotify, with great power, you need to have great scrutiny, right? So I always said, listen, if I ran Spotify Rap Caviar, you'd never see a Freddie Gibbs song on there to say none of the niggas I like would ever be on it, period. You get what I'm saying? So, the people that do run it, you have to kind of scrutinize, because here's the thing. Yes, fine. You don't like someone, you don't platform. And I don't like someone, I don't platform. The max I could do is, all right, little baby, you about to go through a tough PR look for the next 18 months. Good luck, right? But that's about it. If I ran the label he's on, I would make sure he's in Sri Lanka performing for monkeys. That's it. Like, you'd be out of here. So again, it's different levels of power. And what I'm saying is that Rock Nation is what we've seen, and we're constantly hearing their name connected to stuff, not just the Tory stuff, but just so much more. That's why I can't look at what Nikki's saying and say, hey, you're just a kook, right? On this particular thing where she has seemingly an axe to grind with Jay-Z and Rock Nation and some of the things she's bringing up. And then I see these other things that are happening. I'm like, okay, we should probably look at it now before it's too late. And we're sitting back to say, how did Diddy get away with this for this long? And most would argue that when it comes to Jay-Z, he's infinitely more powerful than Diddy was ever at Diddy's height. Because at Diddy's height, he was still that one-man show that was just running around with vodka, right? When you think about Jay-Z, he used everybody, he got title, and then basically he sells title to Square. He's now on the board of Square. You're seeing him walk around with Jack Dorsey, the guy who was the original founder of Twitter, and they're like best friends on vacation now. They own Cash App. Basically, once you start to see he's with Harvey Weinstein, it's probably not that out of the realm of the possibility that Jay-Z's power may allow for some of these things to happen. We're not saying it did happen, but a good investigation or questioning on whether it happened or not, or his association, I think is warranted. But just to wrap this up, because I know I've had you on for a while, but you're just being facetious. You're being facetious, right?
I'm being facetious, man. At the end of the day, Jay-Z does have a lot of power in the business world, and he does have a lot of relationships. At the end of the day, if Jay-Z called me, I would have that phone call, right? I would take that call. If he wanted to have a meeting, I would take that meeting. I would seriously what he had to say. I always say, I remember when we had like a long time ago when the Cassie nude pics had leaked and we posted them right away, right? I mean, in retrospect, I wouldn't do that today, but back in the day, yeah, we posted it. And I remember my man Sean Press called me. He was like, yo, Diddy wants to talk to you. And I'm like, nope. He's like, you don't want to talk to Diddy? I'm like, no, I know what this is about. I'm not going to sit there and get yelled at by Diddy, because then I'm going to start yelling back, and the next thing you know, there's going to be a shouting match over the phone, and whatever. I'm not taking the pics down. I'm not talking to Diddy. And eventually, someone he contacted Steve Rifkin, who owned SRC Records, and we were based in his office at the time. And Steve Rifkin was like, yo, Diddy just yelled at me about these pictures. Can you please take them down? And I'm like, okay, well, I have to listen to, and so forth. So you see these types of maneuvers and so forth that's done in the business world with powerful people, contact other powerful people, and sooner or later people get in line and so forth. But that's very different than buying off a judge. It's not the same thing as buying off jurors. It's not the same thing as murder for hire. It's not the same thing as, bribing doctors and everything else like that. These are all felonies.
Serve for turf. With the Zaxby's box, the answer is both.
Get Zaxby's Southern Fried Shrimp and their famous fingers together for a boatload of flavor.
It's the Zaxby's flavor you love. Now on shrimp.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
I'm Paul Browning, wildlife photographer.
Right? Diddy was not going to catch a felony over getting some pictures taken down, and I was not going to catch a felony over telling him no.
That's the difference between Diddy and Jay. Listen, the point of when I brought up initially, I said, listen, in 2018, there's this group, it's called QAnon. They came up with this idea that there were people who were operating above the law and they were doing weird things. And people said these are the far-right lunatics who are kooks. And then later on, when the Epstein files are released, they're like, damn, how did these guys know? The thing is, you're assuming that that if someone gets to the level of power that has an organization like Rock Nation that is in bed with all the other billionaires, that they're above doing something that could be potentially criminal, or at least skating lines that you and me know if you get caught doing, you're getting locked up. Well, I'm wondering why it seemed like 100 billionaires that allegedly is mentioned in this Epstein file. Why did they do it? If Jay-Z's above doing this, why did the 100 billionaires do that?
Listen, for example, there's a movie that's out right now. It's like this guy hooks up with this like musical superstar, and he's working with him, and then the music guy kicks him out. So he went and he goes and records him and finds a video of him with some underage girls, and then basically blackmails him to stay in the organization, right? And if there was a situation where, let's just say there is a video of Jay-Z with an underage girl, and he knows that if this comes out, he's going to end up in a Bill Cosby situation. And listen, it might be time to kill somebody. It might be time to pay off some judges. It might be time to buy some jurors. It might be time to slip some money to some doctors and so forth. I get it. Megan Thee Stallion accounts for less than 1% of Jay-Z's wealth. And I think I'm being generous by saying that. I don't think that Jay cares about Megan Thee Stallion to the point of putting his neck on the line and doing a felony. Sorry. Megan Thee Stallion. What happens if you take all of the Megan Thee Stallion money out of Jay-Z's bank accounts? Do you think that his lifestyle changes on any level whatsoever?
No, I don't.
No. Megan Thee Stallion is so unimportant in the grand scheme of Jay-Z's life that he is not going to do anything crazy around this.
You're being dead.
And I'm sure with Desiree Perez, if you look at her entire wealth and you take Megan Thee Stallion out of the equation, I don't think it changes anything. That's like me telling you, listen, act. You're about to lose $1,000 unless you do a felony. What are you going to tell me? Man, fuck that $1,000. I'm not even thinking about this. This is the equivalent, man. And people just got to wake up and actually look at reality and question, you know, their own thirst for conspiracy theories. And I proved my point, man. This tweet is over 10 million views already on my own Twitter. And a lot of people are saying, thank you, Vlad. You know, so some of the funniest DMs I get, though, is like, hey, man, since you're not going to be around much longer, can you pay off my debt? I got like 20,000. I've got those types of DMs.
Hey, by the way, just to kind of give you, and again, just, you know, respond to what you just said. You know, I think the same could be said, and these not even billionaires. I think their net worth was like reported like 100 million. There's someone, Lori Lawlin, and I forgot the other guy's name. They were actually, they were indicted for, you know, this college scheme where they basically paid like, you know, them and a bunch of other people paid like $25 million to colleges that their kids could get in. And
the whole USC thing and all that. Yeah,
and I think someone, before we get the proof that they did that, I'm pretty sure someone would say, why would somebody be up $100 million, pay millions to get their kid in to get their kid
into a sports program and in turn getting them into a top school. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Listen, I went to a top school. I went to UC Berkeley. Like, you know, I want my kids to go to a top school. But
yeah, but people might be like, you're above doing crimes to get your kids in college when you have all the money that they don't need college.
Yeah, but I think it's a little different to get your kid into some non-popular sports program and have it fly below the radar. And this has been going on for decades and no one's ever gotten caught. And at the end of the day, like, no one cares about the rowing team at USC and there's never any scrutiny. And okay, cool, my kid will be a top rower. I'll throw a little bit of money to the coach and everyone, whatever. You know, that's different than murder for hire. That's different than buying off a judge. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that all those college moms would not do none of that. What they were doing seemed very below the radar and innocent. And I mean, listen, one of them went to jail for it, so I get it. It is a crime. I get it. But I think they looked at it as like, okay,
Vlad, the majority of what Rock Nation is accused of seems innocent and below the radar. Like they're not like they're not little Dirk. Like, yo, don't put no credit cards on my thing while they go murder their op. Like there's man. I talk crazy about Rock Nation all the time. Like again, yeah, there's a couple weird trucks that pop up. Don't know if it's them, but like I haven't came on here and said, yo, I had an attempt on my life. Like they're not that stupid. But
that's what I made fun of in the tweet. I said that there was an attempt on Tory's life, and you know who paid for it. Nah, bro, there's a story behind that. Tory was trying to talk to this guy's girlfriend. Yo, listen, if I have life in prison, and I managed to somehow, and I'm a pedophile doing life in prison, and I somehow finagled the system to find a girlfriend on the outside. And now this R&B superstar shows up, and now she's potentially not going to rock with me anymore because of him. I can see why I'd want to kill Tory. I get it. I've already killed someone already. What, they going to give me double life? I'm already here. Not that much of a penalty. Doesn't that make a lot more sense than Jay-Z paying for that hit? Doesn't it?
I never said that Jay-Z actually paid for it. Right. That I do think if we're going with patterns of what we've seen, that Rock Nation, and again, maybe not Jay-Z himself, but the company that Jay-Z owns, Rock Nation, has a heavy incentive to make Meg look like a victim. It's on the individual.
A heavy incentive? Not a heavy incentive. I don't agree. I don't agree. It's not a big money maker for Rock Nation.
No. I would think a heavy.
No, there's not a heavy incentive. Some incentive, but not a heavy incentive.
Okay, well, depending on what you call.
There's a heavy incentive to make the NFL deal work.
Okay, well,
I get that.
All right, well, here's the thing.
It's a heavy incentive situation.
Okay.
Making the Stallion is not.
Well, here's the thing. So the deal that they got with the NFL was 5 years for $5 million. Yes, it's tremendous power. We get that. Hold on. Wait. Let me make this point.
It doesn't matter.
I know, but let me make this point.
Legacy on top of that. I don't think Jay-Z's legacy has anything to do with making the Stallion.
But let me make this point. It's reported and speculated that they at least spent like maybe $2 to $3 million on a civil suit just to silence people who's speaking against her. I think that's heavy enough. If you're down to spend millions of dollars, are you down to spend millions of dollars for if you don't have a heavy incentive? Or you're saying Jay-Z is
they spending it? Oh, wait. You're making assumptions here. Did they spend the money or did Megan personally spend the money? Because Megan has the type of money to pay for these types of lawyers, as you and I do.
LA's got this. Let's trade it. Event, outcome, amount, done.
Vlad, I'm literally telling you that I'm in the deposition with them, that I've spoken to a lawyer that you give credit to all the time. I've consulted him about them trying to get a second deposition. They reviewed the first one and they said, hey, listen, based on all the people I want to call, this deposition, at least they know what Quinn Emanuel books and rates for an attorney per hour. That's at least $100,000 just for my deposition. This is a top lawyer in the land saying it, that you have respect for. They have spent millions of dollars and they got a judgment of $59,000. Is that now? I know you want to say that's just Meg wasted money, but in that same deposition, I have the footage. I will make sure when we sit down, I want you to watch it for yourself, that you could say, why are they in real time say, send this to the CEO of Rock Nation instead of the person who you think seemingly would be paying for it, which is Meg the Stallion.
But she is business connected to the CEO of Rock Nation. Like, this is not a stretch.
So you don't think?
Now, if
so you don't think they have a financial incentive then? So there is a financial incentive. So you're agreeing?
There is, but there's not a financial incentive to the point where you're going to risk your freedom over it.
No, I didn't say they risk their freedom over it. What I'm saying is that they are interested in Meg looking like a victim. Now, whatever means they take, and you know, again, there's so much to go down the weeds with this. If you look into the case with that same CEO we're talking about, right? That's the one who eventually cooperated against the cartel back when her boyfriend at the time was like selling drugs. Then she became the CEO of Rock Nation later. She has a current case versus her own daughter. Her own daughter is echoing everything I'm saying. So here's the thing. Okay, maybe Nicki Minaj is a complete kook. I bet. Maybe the girlfriend of Colin Kaepernick, she's just out there. She's salty because her guy sucks at quarterback. Okay, maybe academics, he's just reading too much into it. And when he sees in a deposition that's legal, where he's under oath, where he knows he can't lie, he sees the lawyer say, send this to the Rock Nation. It's just completely coincidence. But what about the daughter of the same person? It's not a coincidence.
There's an established business relationship between Megan and Desiree. It's not. There's no coincidence here.
Okay, so we've established that the business of Rock Nation is also.
You don't think, for example, when Snoop Dogg was on trial for murder, you don't think that there was messages passed on to Suge Knight over what was happening? Because Suge and to Dr. Dre, who both were co-owners of the label, of course, they have an artist. They want to know what's happening legally with the artist. It's not. It's not a stretch here. It's totally normal.
No, and I agree with you. But if you then said to me, do you think that Death Row helped pay for Tupac's legal case without us knowing that? I would probably say yes.
I'm talking about Snoop. No, absolutely. No.
But it's in any situation. Atlantic Records, when it came to T.I., they put up money for bail. When it came for Kentrell Gaulden, his first case that he called a 16 or it was 17 when his man got shot in the neck when they went to do a drive-by, they put up $1 million in surety. When it comes to Young Thug, so the point that where you're saying that, oh, this is just Meg and not Rock Nation, like, come on, you're being way too naive. This is both of them. I
will give you that, and I think that's a valid point. Did Rock Nation possibly supplement or pay for the lawsuit? Possibly.
And probably use whatever influence or whatever they could, maybe legal or not.
I don't think it accomplished anything in the grand scheme of things. It probably scares certain people about saying certain things, but the reality is that, like, silencing one or two people in the media in 2026 makes zero impact, right? Like, for example, like the fact that Charlamagne won't speak out against Jay-Z, do you think that really matters at all?
Yeah,
no,
it does. It does. Just got paid $200 million. Of course it matters. He's one of the biggest voices. Yes, it matters. What?
I think.
You think? I see. You know who speaks out about Jay-Z? Is a bunch of YouTubers that get 500 views. Yes, the guy who's on the biggest radio show, who, according to pay, he's the biggest in media. If he won't say nothing, it matters. If Joe Rogan won't speak about how atrocious the Epstein files look and how much the government might be still hiding, yes, it matters. Definitely matters.
I think that it matters to the extent of this. Let's just say that Jay was caught with an underage girl, right? Not to say there's any truth in this. And Charlamagne doesn't say anything. Do you think that matters at all? There'll be such a huge tidal wave of voices from every part of the world that it doesn't matter whether Charlamagne says it or not. It doesn't matter. Does it matter that Charleston White doesn't go on Vlad TV anymore? No, Charleston's still doing fine. You know, he's still making money. He still has fans, whatever else. He might even have more fans because I didn't put him on. Like, who knows? Like, it doesn't.
The argument
matter.
isn't if Charlamagne speaks about it. The argument is, are people
but shout out to
valid or stupid
shit, that's what I said. Like, share, subscribe.
That
you know
certain things maybe need more conversation. Like this is what I say.
You shining bright. You feel me?
I'm a guy. I like Trump. I told you this. I like Trump on his first joint and the second joint. I'm always honest.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out.
His name was up in the Epstein files. I think he should get investigated too. I think he should get investigated. I think Jay-Z should get investigated. I don't even think Pusha was really on none, but investigate him too. That's my thing. There's nobody above it. So when it comes to like Jay, I'm saying there is a little bit too much where we are like, yo, this guy, and I don't think it's just a bunch of losers who probably are jealous that he's the winner in all of this because he's a billionaire. I think people kind of know that, hey, maybe this motherfucker got away with some shit. And the way we get to the point with Epstein is asking questions. Remember, it's only a couple months ago, the same Department of Justice said to us, there ain't no files. So the people who are asking questions, they look like idiots. There's no files. We gave it to you all already. You've seen it all. Couple months later, 3 million files. who was right. It just depends on what we know at what time. I'm saying this is my motto of today's stream. Trust your gut. Hey, listen, I'm not disputing certain things. Was Tory convicted? Yes. Was Tory appeal denied? Yes. Is there actual fact that and proof that we know at this time that the judge was paid off? No. Did that bodyguard that is now, they're repurposing an old clip, did they see something
we gonna get it right.
that night? They weren't there. Did they overhear Kelsey? Perhaps. I don't know. But trust your gut. Take everything you know. Take the initial statements. Meg lies, doesn't tell the truth, supposedly tries to protect, gets mad. She then wants to tell the truth. Her company, Rock Nation, approaches the DA. They then get this indictment going on. We see other things through the media. Kelsey's backflipping, sidestepping. We don't know. And whatever you think from that, and that's the thing I've always defended people who flat out believe. I always believe that Meg was shot. Some people believe there was no shot.
No, she was shot.
I believe she was shot, but for the people who do believe that she never got shot, I kind of understand because there's a million different stories that at some point you might be like, you know what? I'm gonna hop off this misinformation or misdirection train at this point because we're getting told one thing today, and then the next day we get told another thing. Again, that's how.
And listen, there's a real argument for people saying she didn't really get shot because she herself said that she didn't get shot.
Bingo.
Right. So there you go. Like if you don't want to argue that part.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys, Nina just built.
Then cool, we can argue it, and I'll give people like a real.
There we go.
But ultimately, the doctor came forward. But listen, she did say she didn't get shot, so there's a little bit of a gray area there. I totally get it. But the reality is, man, is that Tory put himself in the situation and he antagonized her, and it doesn't like at the end of the day, he could have avoided all this.
Okay, you're right.
He could have avoided all this. His ego was out of control, and he felt that the internet speaking on his behalf matters in a court of law. But we saw that it doesn't. Those jurors did not care what the internet had to say. Because the internet, every poll I did, found Tory not guilty. Every poll that I did on my own Twitter account with tens of thousands of votes,
found him not guilty.
All said that Tory's going to be, let out. Tory even had a tweet, before he's like, I'm going to show y'all how powerful my God is. You will stand at my feet and see the truth. And then the day later, he was found guilty. So, it's one of those things, bro. Like, it's one of those things. And I hope, based on what Tory's been through, I think that based on the level of violence that he committed, on Megan, I feel that he has served his debt to society. He has been in prison now for a number of years. He's gotten stabbed up way worse than she was hurt. If you told me right now that Tory's going to come home, I'll say, I'm glad he's coming home. He has served his debt to society.
So you're saying you're not against maybe a commutation of a sentence?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that, man. Like Tory, people think I have something against Tory. I do not on any level.
Well, the tweet comes across as, hey, listen, this is a heinous guy who's made excuse after excuse to not take accountability of shooting his woman. And he deserves jail. So your tweet doesn't say, hey, listen, justice was served, but this guy's getting an unfair shake. He's locked up, high profile. He's getting stabbed up. He's probably, at this point, given the fact he's been locked up a few years, he should probably get out. That's not how the tweet read. The tweet read, keep this motherfucker locked. Jay and
no, the tweet read is he's locked up for a reason. It's not because of Jay-Z.
He was fucking with the whole thing.
That's how the tweet read, actually reads. And listen, Sneeko called me first, and the first thing I said on Sneeko's live is exactly what I'm telling you. So it's ridiculous. I still feel the same way I feel, but at the end of the day, Tory getting let out now, I think is more than fair. And I'm actually surprised that Megan doesn't feel the same way at this point. Like, look, okay, you shot me in the foot, but you got stabbed the fuck up. You almost died. Megan never almost died. She was twerking like a week later. So at the end of the day, man, like I hope everything works out. I hope that people see both sides of it, and I hope that some people realize, something. Vlad just showed me that I was kind of stupid this whole time. I really hope some people feel that way.
Well, do you also, or could you process maybe a possible belief that, because this is one of the conspiracy theory, right? Hey, your label is so, by the way, there's been many cases for many different rappers, right? We don't see their label this much involved, even if they have a financial incentive. But perhaps, like, for example, Alamo is the label that signs Lil Durk. Now, granted, maybe you could compare Durk and Meg Thee Stallion as a proportionate type of artist. But if you look at Alamo's roster compared to 300 roster, which is Meg's label, Durk is by far the biggest, him and Rod Wave. They're the biggest artist that has kept that label afloat. They're not in court supporting.
Shout out, love,
and
bro.
Even if they've had another artist that was a victim, they're not in court.
Well, hold on a second. Durk is not the victim.
Okay, well, they've had other artists that have been victims on major labels where they're not that incentivized. Here's a theory that is it possible that this was probably seen on a business level by the label that was going to, at that time, she was only managed by them. They were looking to sign her away from 1501. Is it possible that they felt that, fuck, even if it really happened, of course, they're probably going to believe her. This is a perfect, firestorm for you to end up and get what Rihanna got in terms of sympathy. And not saying Rihanna's not an amazing, talented artist, but that sympathy universally made Rihanna kind of go to another level in people saying, hey, listen, we have to protect this woman. She got abused by another famous entertainer. And maybe they were looking at possible that angle to say, we're going to lean into this, get a guilty verdict.
If you know about Jay-Z history, though, with the deal he took, the distribution deals and shit like that, and you know what motherfucking Tory Lanez was doing with his album and the motherfucking the crypto shit, what that shit is, I forget what that shit was, but the NFTs, when he sold his album as the NFT and he made that $1 million and he was fucking up the motherfucking system, they ain't like that shit. Like, man, he's showing bitches another way and he fucking up their money, so they had to get
now
him up
she's
out
a
the way.
victim. She could now, we see the
Nigga fucking
tears,
up
we
your
see
money,
this,
you
that,
gotta
third.
come
They
up
put
out
out
the
a
way. That's what they
documentary
do.
about
Like,
it,
we gotta
and they're
get
hoping
people
to
money, man.
curry the favor of people to say this is a
Trying to
victim.
put
However, it's not worth. So the
people
work is not done until she's a full
with
victim.
the sauce too much.
Yeah, listen, I get it, and that sounds
The game
plausible.
to be
You're
sold,
trying to get this
not
client, you're trying to
told.
get this artist away from his other independent label. You're already managing them. She ultimately did leave, right? She broke the deal with 1500 and went over there and so forth. And I get it, but if you then say, and then they paid off the judge in order to do that, just to get this artist on their label, then they paid off jury members in order to do that. Like,
yeah,
this is no. All the other shit never happened. Did they try to cozy up to her? Sure, well, of course. If you see a business opportunity, and listen, ultimately she did not become the next Rihanna. So it didn't really work out that way, did it?
Like, my whole point is we got to separate some. There's actual kooks out there, right? And people that go too far. It's like saying, yo, it's some Muslims that crash into the World Trade Center. Man, all y'all Muslim niggas is doing. No, there's a few people that's out there. You're right, but the majority of people are normal and sane, and maybe they have questions if there's any association with the judge. Like, for example, they have questions about Tory's former attorney, which is Sean Holly, who, after she stopped working for Tory, she went on to produce a documentary, or actually a multi-part series, which she named every episode after Jay-Z songs. And people are like, well,
create a
that's
positive,
interesting. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe it's a coincidence there too. She's defended Tory.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that.
Like, she stopped working for Tory. She went on to produce a documentary, actually a multi-part series, which she named every episode after Jay-Z songs. And people are like, well,
yeah, I remember that shit.
That's interesting. Like, you know what I mean?
That
Maybe
was
it's a
that
coincidence
bullshit.
there too. She's defended Tory.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that whole situation. Remember, she stepped away from the case before it went to trial.
Yes.
Right? Because what obviously happened, well, not obviously, but what I think probably happened was that she told him he's not going to win. And she told him that she's not going to represent him in lie in court or so forth, and told him certain things that he did not want to hear. So clearly, the fact that he had to scramble and find a whole new lawyer right before trial.
Let's represent that a little bit more fairly. So her main thing, and I read the letters, and by the way, we see Meghan Cunningham publishing. I guess they have some relationship. Which, by the way, I'm actually concerned that how those emails were put out, given the fact there should be attorney-client privilege. But that's a story for another day. Here's the point: when reading those emails, her main point of discussion was that she advised Tory against the main strategy of what should go forward. And to what you said,
the Opera browser have just upgraded to the new Opera AI. Link below to download the upgraded Opera browser for free.
And welcome to the Lit House. Whatever you do, keep the light within you shining bright. You feel me? Stay lit.
many podcasts that Tory should take a stand. Tory wanted to take the stand. She told Tory, I cannot be your attorney if that's what you're going to do, because we've tried a mock interrogation or you taking a stand, and I'm not comfortable with that defense. So that's the majority of the issue. She claims that, according to her, that the trial strategy were not incongruent. Tory was down to get up there and speak for himself, and she felt that's not the case, and also pushing blame on other people was not the case as well. So they disagreed on trial strategy. Not that because you made it sound like Tory just, she wasn't down to lie with Tory. No, this is trial
Well,
strategy.
no. Listen, yeah, I mean, you're right. So your explanation makes perfect sense, and I get it. So clearly there was a falling out. So the two of them are not cool anymore. So if she's kind of like a fuck you too, Tory. You don't know this kind of shit that Tory said behind closed doors to her and so forth. Ultimately, he got to the lawyer and ended up not taking the stand anyways. Right? So
You're right.
Using
But
the
again,
strategy regardless.
go back to coincidences. Go back to coincidences.
Still ain't take the stand.
Is it coincidental that the lawyer who quits over trial strategy does a documentary and names every episode after the guy who heads up the company that is representing the artist, and that CEO is in court? Is it coincidence?
I think it's petty. I think that's what it is. I think it's a level of pettiness that I can respect, that 50 Cent can respect, and to the whole petty community that I feel I am one of the one of the leaders of. I respect that petty move right there. That's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers right there. That's petty wop. I think that's what that is.
I don't think that's just petty. That ain't just petty though, bro.
To lead Tory down the wrong lane, and she's nodding back to him by naming those chapters after songs of his. Like that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
What, do you want to know what I really think?
What do you really think?
Jay-Z funding that shit.
For anyone who does a series, especially you're still doing series built for linear TV, even though I think this was going to be on a streamer, which is Netflix, Peacock, or one of those. You're doing deals far out, right? You're not just getting a deal done in a week, producing and putting the stuff out immediately. I believe that this was a possible source of conflict of interest that I think. By the way, Tory did try to state in his his appeal, which yes, that was rejected, but I do think is valid. If my lawyer, whether it be petty or not,
I don't think it was released until
was
after.
Maybe behind the scenes having a business deal
and
done
about
or being negotiated with a company that represents the person I'm going to criminal trial with. I think that could put them in a very interesting place. Hey, if you go forward with this, so you never know. Maybe the lawyer is like, hey, listen, yeah, we have a slight disagreement, but we've seen cases where the legal team, and we heard it with Mark Agnifilo. He said, me and Diddy disagreed with the trial strategy. They stayed as his lawyer. So maybe that was the reason that Sean Hawley said, you know what? I got a better opportunity over here. We're not in full agreement here. Hey, right now we're at the last steps before trial. Fuck it. I'm hopping off this train for my own personal benefit. Who knows? Who cares about a Sean Hawley documentary or whatever the case is? But Jay-Z and them could be like, hey, if we could fuck up his legal strategy by giving her some deal she can't refuse that has nothing to do with law, yes, that's tactics. That's the invisible hand. But it might be. I think Vlad's looking at it.
But you could change the name before it's released, though.
You're jumping to get to that finish line.
Always had a name. They change names of movies.
Proven, that'd be interesting. And then I would say, wow.
They change names of movies even after a movie is done. They would film a movie name with a completely different title than what it come out with. They'll end up changing the title name after it's done. It's done numerous times. The same shit could happen with series. You feel me? So that's what I think happened with that.
There really was some real manipulation happening.
That's why they talk about
by Jay-Z. If he really got her, Tory's lawyer off the case last minute like that by offering her a TV deal of some sort.
By the way,
all right, I get
the TV show was on Hulu, and it was called the entire thing was called Reasonable Doubt, and every episode was named after a Jay-Z song.
Yeah, man. Listen, and I, like if that comes
Reasonable
out
Doubt is a Jay-Z album.
Emails and they find wire transfers and whatever else or Bitcoin. Because one thing
I just think he was probably funding that
playing
shit.
around in the comments, right, in the replies, and they're like, "How much you got? You get paid? I got paid $10K, then $50K during the trial. They paid me Bitcoin, so they couldn't trace it. I was like, you can trace Bitcoin. I was like, yeah, I guess you can. I don't know. I don't own any. I'm just making all this stuff along the way. So people could,
you could trace it.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah,
but to a certain extent.
Cognitive dissonance, for people that don't know, when you have an idea and you're absolutely sure about it, and then something comes along to disprove your idea, cognitive dissonance means that you excuse that one thing and work your other answers around it.
I've accused people who believe in numerology of that because they'll pick and choose with the numbers to go with whatever narrative. Again, I'd agree with you a little bit on that with cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, people want to believe this Jay-Z mafia thing so badly that when I came forward and I put this out, they were like, "Oh my God, finally, all my questions have been answered."
I know.
right? And listen, I've had people that, people like Tory call me up and he's upset. He's like, yo, what you're doing isn't sarcasm. You didn't put the wink at the end, whatever. I'm like, no, it is sarcasm. You don't tell me how comedy's going to be laid out. This is my version of comedy. I interview comedians. I have a comedic bent to what I do. And this is my version of comedy right here. And to me, the comedy part was people's responses. And there's literally like 100,000 responses based to my tweet or, across all the different platforms. So, this is my thing. And I get it. Some people are not going to get it. Rock Nation has not contacted me. They don't care. They would have contacted me by now if this was a problem.
They care, but you've done their bidding.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So when you've done, this is something I think they would have paid me $250,000 to do, right? I'm serious.
Damn it, man! I could have got paid for this.
No, I'm serious.
Rock, I'll do another one for you.
You did get paid for this, Vlad. He not fooling
I think they would have done that for me to.
You did get paid to do this shit. They probably sent you this shit to post up for you to say this shit verbatim. Like, here you go. Nah, boom, post it on your shit. Like you do. You know what I'm saying? You type this out. All right. And then they gave your ass $250,000. They done cleaned you. They done took care of something for you. Probably gave you your grandson the verse. It did something for Vlad.
This is all a joke, and all you guys who believe that you're idiots, I only put this up to call you idiots. Because what this happens is now, like, by the way, there's no actual serious outlets running this as some serious shit. They're saying he jokingly does this, he made fun of this.
Man, that's like when you go through it with your bitch, you get into it with your bitch, you be like, that's why I fucked such and such. And the bitch be like, da-da-da-da-da. I knew you did it. I knew you was fucking with that bitch. Da-da-da. See, bitch, I ain't even fuck with that bitch for real. See, you believe anything just because you ain't fucking with that bitch. That was your best friend, but you gonna believe I'm that type of person, bitch. Shame on you.
And this is
know better than that.
Run this, bro. Like, this is everywhere.
Yeah, but again,
everywhere, which really surprises me. I'm like, I honestly, when I wrote that, I thought, this will get like maybe, I don't know, 20-30K impressions and people go on with their day. I did not think this was gonna happen.
If
Cap, he know he capping. He capping.
If some of the
you knew exactly what that shit was gonna do when he dropped that shit.
Minds who, number one, they're
him being who he
misinformation.
is, everybody's thinking he the feds.
Potential, again, maybe the people you're really trying to intend to confuse or play up to, which are the stupid people. If they said, hey, listen, okay, the joke is over, would you
just listen to this nigga voice when he say that bullshit that he think niggas gonna believe.
If some of the intellectual minds who
like maybe
again
everywhere, which really surprises me. I'm like, I honestly, when I wrote that, I thought, this will get like maybe, I don't know, 20-30K impressions and people go on with their day. I did not think this was gonna happen.
If I don't know,
Cap.
If some of the intellectual minds who, number one, they're concerned about misinformation and they're concerned about potential, again, maybe the people you're really trying to intend to confuse or play up to, which are the stupid people. If they said, hey, listen, okay, the joke is over, would you delete it? That it's not still confused. I'm not gonna lie to you. There were people that hit me with this. I got woken up on my sleep for your tweets.
Yeah,
and that only happens if someone dies. If someone hits the bat signal,
especially when you got facts though.
And I'm sleeping. It was yesterday. Listen, I'm single and
but you gotta understand, Act got a personal vendetta.
I'm sleeping like Patrick and Starfish. I'm just laying there.
Act got a personal vendetta against Rock Nation personally because he was in a deposition with them and they fucked around and leaked some information and he was streaming the whole time while he was in the deposition recording this shit. So he peeped game what they did. So when they released the motherfucking shit, he could go back and look at the shit like, oh, y'all talk about Desiree Perez, right? So he got a personal vendetta against Rock Nation.
And
because they tried to get that paper
and I'm not
out
thinking, well, it's not my dog, so it's not an intruder. You know what I mean? It's not this, so it's not that. And then I look at my phone that's like just jumping all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, who died? And I grab the phone and it's 17 messages. Have you seen this? Get on live. Hey, what do you know? I won't even let me tell you this.
Listen, I got my own personal story about Rock Nation, but I'm not gonna get into it right now. I went into it on some old shit like last year. I ain't gonna get
Hip Hop Police hit me up about this shit. I have a close relationship with them, by the way.
Wait.
Yes.
NYPD hit you up about this?
Yeah, not in an investigation. Like I'm cool with the guys. Like when I go in town, brother, people are gonna think some cop shit. No.
Nah, you stuttering. I gotta hear what
and I'm like,
you talking about.
Oh my God, who died?
You trying
and I'm now thinking, well, it's not my dog, so it's not an intruder. You know what I mean? It's not this, so it's not that. And then I look at my phone that's like just jumping all over the place, and I'm like, oh my God, who died? And I grab the phone and it's 17 messages. Have you seen this? Get on live. Hey, what do you know? I won't even let me tell you this. Hip hop police hit me up about this shit. I have a close relationship with it, by the way.
Wait.
Yes.
NYPD hit you up about this?
Yeah, not in an investigation. Like I'm cool with the guys. Like when I go in town, like brother, people are gonna think it's some cop shit. No, they monitor everything with like events, and they make sure people are not killing each other. It's too dense in New York. So I'll let you know. Like when I go to like Barclays or something, I let hip hop cops know I'm coming to town. Right? Why? That they could relay information back to me to say, hey, just to let you know, Lil Baby, Meek Mill, everybody you don't like is gonna be there. We have credible info. If you want to go there and it's gonna be an issue, we're not your security. Good luck. That's kind of how they move. This idea that hip hop cops just like fucking set
unless you pay me,
they're usually there to make sure.
Unless you pay us, we're not your security. Well, we gonna give you a call with all your ops out here, but we gonna let you know if you ain't got no check for us, we not your security. You got a check for us? You gonna pay us? You coming out there? All right, we just letting you know, bitch. Don't go out there if your ass ain't got no check.
That could have killed each other. Anyway, like one of the guys, they hit me up and they said, "Is any of this thing true?" Now, granted, I'm not sure if I said yes, they'd be like, "All right, we're gonna look into it." I'm not sure, but yeah, they're intrigued. Everybody's intrigued. What the fuck?
Yeah, man, my phone is blown more over this than I think damn near anything else. Like, and this isn't even my biggest tweet. My video game tweet is at like 25 million. I just checked. But every celebrity I know has hit me up. Like literally.
Hey,
everybody.
Could you like after watching the Bad Bunny, his story?
Tortoise wins.
And welcome to the Lit House. Whatever you do, keep the light within you shining bright. You feel me? Fuck that shade. Get paid, and that's every single motherfucking day, nigga. All right, but that's wild though, man. That shit wild. What we gonna do right now? I had this other shit I was looking at. Right, we was talking about MJ and the shit that was going around with MJ. They say this after his NASCAR. After his NASCAR team won a championship. What is shit at? Did I save it or did I like it? I can't remember. I can't remember what I did with it.
Get assassinated. It just
that was planned, though, right?
Well,
obviously.
Yeah.
Who did 9/11?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's documented.
Man, you ain't see the shit with Jordan was doing?
Those files in the building.
Man, Jordan kept pinching his little white boy ass, man, at the championship, man. You ain't see that shit? They said, oh, man, Jordan ass gonna be goddamn in the Epstein file. Do we need to look for Michael Jordan name in the Epstein files? That's what everybody was saying. Y'all ain't see that shit? I'm gonna see if I'm finding it.
You can look up the Canadian working group that came together after 9/11. They did a whole study. You can put that in the article.
So was it George? Careful.
So my mouse.
Remember what I said I invented?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's on
Same group.
Matter of fact, I probably could just search that shit. I don't think it's some shit I said. It ain't no type of shit that I would save. You right. That ain't no type of shit that I save. I wouldn't dare say no bullshit. Like, I probably looked at that shit discussed. I said, I left a comment on that shit though. Can I go to my comments on this shit? Let me see. I damn sure said, this y'all goat. That's what I said. That's what I said. Okay, interactions. I know I left a comment. And this is y'all goat. Yeah, I know. I left a comment on that shit though. That's what I did.
Interior homes each year. Our thanks to Chuck McDonald, Darren Foster, and entire production team.
Why you doing that little? What is he doing? What the fuck is Michael Jordan doing? What the fuck is this old nigga doing? And this is y'all goat. My goat is LeBron James. He's still my goat still in the league. Goddamn. My goat still playing. My goat been playing 21 years. Came straight out of high school. Bitch, Michael Jordan got cut on his junior year in high school. Get the fuck out of here. Goat of what? Nigga, what? Nigga had to take a break because he sacrificed his daddy from gambling debts. All right, but he the GOAT of what? Longevity longevity in every sport makes you the GOAT in every other sport. Why not basketball? It's like motherfuckers is blind to the fact that they put him as this motherfucker for a reason. Bitch, he was paying off a debt. He owed money. I'm changing the battery. Hold on. I'm changing the motherfucker. But look at this shit. What the fuck is Michael
Our
Jordan
entire
doing?
production team and all of our commentary team. We'll see you from Atlanta next week. The NASCAR
What
race
the
day
fuck is he
Sunday, 2
doing,
p.m.
man?
Eastern Time at the Cup race in Atlanta, 3 p.m.
What the
Eastern
fuck
Time.
is he doing?
Race into your homes each year. Our thanks to Chuck McDonald, Darren Foster, and entire production team, and all of our
What the
commentary
fuck is he
team. We'll see you
doing?
from Atlanta next week. The NASCAR race day next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
I want you to look at the white
Cup
man
race in
reaction that's
Atlanta,
on the side of
3
him.
p.m. Eastern Time. Race into your homes each year. Our thanks to Chuck McDonald, Darren Foster, and entire production team, and all of our commentary team. We'll see you from Atlanta next week. The NASCAR race day next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time at the Cup race in Atlanta, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Race
After his
into your
NASCAR team
homes
won a Daytona
each year.
500.
Our thanks to Chuck McDonald,
Daytona
Darren
500, that what
Foster,
it
and
is?
entire production team, and
And
all
this
of
is
our
y'all, man, this
commentary
is
team.
y'all go. I'm sick. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I knew it was a reason. I knew it was a reason. I knew it was a reason Allen Iverson crossed that nigga how he did when he first got in the league. I knew it. I knew it was a reason. I knew it's a whole agenda out here. I knew it was a reason these motherfuckers got them. Man, cut it out, man. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, moving along, man. Oh, you talking about LeBron? Yeah, man, because he the greatest. You got to be talking about LeBron, man. You say I gotta chill? No, man, they gotta chill. Michael Jordan gotta chill. Fuck, man. Fuck wrong with Buddy, man. And anyway, we gonna move on, man. Real niggas reaction, man. Real niggas do what they want to do. Bitch niggas do what they can. Whole ass niggas gonna talk about it, and fuck niggas gonna hate regardless. I promise you that. So do your shit to the motherfucking fullest, nigga. I don't give a fuck what they think, and you shouldn't either. Man, this ain't even what I wanted to see. I wanted to go to this other shit. What is shit at, man? I'm just flabbergasted. I'm thrown off a little bit, man. That shit threw me off. What the fuck was Michael Jordan doing, man? What the fuck was he doing? Did y'all? I'm not going back to that shit. But what the fuck was Michael Jordan doing? What? I'm disgusted. I'm fucking appalled. We're gonna go to a story from Honeycomb Brazy.
That's the scariest shit ever. I'm talking to the nigga. I'm really talking to the nigga like he in my cell. Like I can't even tell him he finna go. Damn. He brings the bitch. You know I forward some music video on the wall. I'm like, I gotta get this boy, get up out of here. I got you. Get up out of here. These folks on your head like booty. These folks gonna kill you in a minute. I'm like, get up out of here. Like I'm gonna fuck with you, bro. I want to lace some more. Like that shit for my heart. So I'm like, I'm a real nigga, bro. I'm knowing he finna get slaughtered. And then nigga love me. He said, I love you, bitch. I die by it. I can't even tell the nigga what's going on.
Why can't you tell him?
Cause I'ma die.
Really?
What?
Nah, see, I play that because that's symbolic as a motherfucker to this whole shit that's going on, right? Like, shit, motherfuckers be going through shit. Like, shit. Like, these motherfuckers know shit, but they can't say shit because they gonna die. Think about that. Everybody, Jim Carrey, what the fuck? Jim Carrey was saying, like, they said they killed Jim Carrey's wife because he started to expose motherfuckers. He started to expose the truth about this shit. Yeah, man. They say, where that shit at? Damn, I think I fucked up. It's all right. We back. Uno momento, technical difficulties. We back though, man. All right. No, that's not what I was on. I wasn't on this either. I was on this. But we was talking about the fuck was we talking about? Oh yeah. Motherfuckers get killed. I mean, motherfuckers know shit, but they ain't gonna say nothing because they might get killed. So, oh shit, here it go. It ain't up no more. I wanna play that shit again. No, I ain't gotta play that again. But yeah, man, like I don't even know what that. Well, yeah, when you locked up, that's some real nigga shit, cause you don't know what that nigga did. He could have been a fuck nigga pedophile. If you don't know the nigga paperwork, and he say he fucked with you, whatever. I don't know. Them niggas finna kill your ass. Fuck it, I can't tell you. I'm not finna die for you. I don't know you like that, nigga. But I appreciate your support while you was here, nigga. I catch you around, man. That's how that shit gotta be. I guess that is some real nigga shit, bro. But it depends. I don't know, bro. Can you call yourself a real nigga if that's your partner for real though? I guess it ain't his partner for real, cause if that's your partner for real, you willing to die behind that shit with him. Anyway, we're gonna go back to this shit till I find
5 years old, and I'm watching the TV, and I watched Mr. Kennedy get assassinated. It just
That was planned, though, right?
Well,
obviously.
Yeah.
Who did 9/11?
Yeah. That's documented.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that there was files in a building, and they took the
You can
building
look
down.
up the Canadian working group that came together after 9/11. They did a whole study. You can put that in the article.
So was it George? Careful.
Remember what I said I invented?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's on
Same
there.
group.
It is George, yeah. This is crazy.
And why haven't we found research for cancer yet? It's been so many
$1 trillion
years.
We haven't.
Yep. See, I agree with that one. I think they have it.
By the way,
man, they been had that shit. I've been saying this. They got research. They got plenty of stories, plenty of people. They've been taking K9 debuggers, bro, for their cancer. They was in stage 4 cancer. It's like 4 documented stories that I seen personally myself about motherfuckers that had stage 4 cancer, some type of different cancer. One had lung cancer, one had brain cancer, and it was 2 other different types of cancer. But they took a K9 dewormer, the shit you give your dog for worms, got rid of their cancer. Stage 4. Nigga, they give you know what stage 4 cancer
in all of what went on in 2020 and 2021, I lost my wife to cancer. So that's a tough one because I knew we already had the answer.
So they have an answer. Yeah, for sure.
Nah, that what she did, bro. She did.
So why don't they give it up?
It ain't no way, bro. It ain't no way you really love your wife. It ain't no way you really love your wife, right? And you know the answer. That these people got a cure. You probably get a cure for this shit for her. Nah, you knew something, bro. You were like, you know what? Till death do us part, bitch.
Make trillions of dollars.
Make millions from chemo.
Millions. Make trillions.
Trillions.
Because how are they going to keep justifying building infrastructure that gets nothing done?
Oh my God, we're gonna get killed by tomorrow. Hey, I don't know how I got here. I got here by random people.
My name is Ronnie.
My name's
My name
Maxwell's
is
dad.
Ronnie.
Look. We got a view into them because we broke part of the case from LA.
So did you find like famous names in
Oh no,
LA
you don't
County?
understand. Right afterwards, we pushed a solution across the table, and then everybody disappeared.
Like disappeared?
Like everybody from your crew?
Everybody that was putting the solution across the table disappeared.
I don't know how I got here, y'all.
My name is Drew Wall.
Look, it's just how things work.
So people love kids that much that they erase the task force in order to.
No, they didn't erase the task force. Task force didn't go away. All the people that were answering to try to stop modern day slavery. Look, it's all about the dollar again. I keep going back to that. But 20% of the human trafficking was sex slavery. That was the diversion. And Epstein was where the party scene was. And you guys all know about the party that's on the street, right? That's
Diddy parties.
Yeah, and on down. They're all South Central, the whole bit, right? It's an economy. It's an economy of the street, including homeless people. Homelessness economy is parties. 5 years old and I'm watching the TV and I watch Mr. Kennedy get assassinated. It just
That was planned though, right? Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Who did 9/11?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's documented.
Rumor has it that there was files in a building, and they took the
You can
building
look
down.
up the Canadian working group that came together after 9/11. They did a whole study. You can put that in the article.
So was it George? Careful.
Remember what I said I invented?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's on
Same
here.
group.
It is George, yeah. This is crazy.
And why haven't we found research for cancer yet? It's been so many
Trillion
years.
You said we haven't.
Yep. See, I agree with that one. I think they have it.
By the way,
$1
in all of what went on in
So did
2020,
Jeff Kerry's
2021,
speech in
I lost my
2018.
wife to cancer, so that's a tough one because I knew we already had the answer.
So they have an answer. Yeah,
We'll see.
for sure.
He showed the common man being fed. With modern times, he criticized capitalism without a conscience. And that's what we have now. We have capitalism without a conscience. He showed the common man being fed through gears of the brutal, dehumanizing industrial age. He took on the American right wing of his day, its worst evils: hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power. We are fighting those same evils today. In America, in the United Kingdom, across the globe. And we need to be clear, shamelessness is not and will never be a superpower. It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do. Almost half of America at this moment believes there is a sinister deep state diabolically plotting to what? Give them health care? What is the sinister plan here? Sure, I can afford the miracle drug for restless leg syndrome. I should take the pills, I guess. We in America are misinformed. Reality shows have warped our idea of what a hero is. With modern times, you don't know what it is.
Is that a gang? Is that a gang sign? Have you?
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Oh, I like it.
It's the symbol of the all-mocking tongue, and I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? Like, for years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy
Propaganda.
and docile, so you don't know what's really going on. You know, and they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things, and you know, and you know, look at him trying to cover it up.
Distractions.
It's hilarious, hilarious. And you know, and I'm sick of, hold on a second.
Smoke and mirrors.
You know what they're trying to do? This thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just got to get this.
And
Yeah, listen, I'm in the middle of blowing the lid off some.
What happened?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus.
And now he's back under control. Hey man, like I said, real niggas do what they want to do. Bitch niggas do what they can. Hoe ass niggas gonna talk about it and fuck niggas gonna hate. I'm just doing what I want to do right now, man. It's random, real nigga reactions, bro. Oh, I took the random off, didn't I? Oh yeah, we done with that. That shit over, man. That shit was done. It's over with. It was like 2 hours of that shit. You can rewind it if you gotta see it, whatever you want to do. Now it's random time. Matter of fact, you right. What the fuck am I doing? Why the fuck am I even up? I appreciate y'all for fucking with me, man. Remember, welcome to the Lit House. This is the Lit House. Till next time, keep the light within you shining bright. You feel me? Fuck that shade. Get paid, and that's every single motherfucking day. Do that shit capital. Create a positive impact today and later. Fuck them haters. Get your paper straight like that. And never forget, real niggas do what they want to do. Bitch niggas do what they can. Hoe ass niggas gonna talk about it, and fuck niggas gonna hate regardless. I promise you that. So do your shit to the motherfucking fullest, nigga. I don't give a fuck what they think, and you shouldn't neither.
I'm a hustler on a mission, grinding for that spot, a brand new pot to piss in. Trying to school my partners, I don't think they pay attention. I'm sticking to my vision, on the road to the rich. Every single day, I'm a hustler on a mission, trying to get 100 M's, nigga, I ain't kidding. I'm on a mission, 24/7, 365.